Chapter 1232. The Snow Empress was in her last slumber until now. The special cold aura around her had never dissipated. Even the Ice Emperor couldn't get close to her. He didn't expect it to disperse now. What did this mean? Either his sister's consciousness was still awake, or she sensed Wang Feng's presence, so she controlled the cold air to create a path for him. But why did it have to be now? The Ice Emperor looked at Wang Feng with jealousy. Since my sister is conscious, why didn't she do this to me? Is this man more important than me in my sister's heart? No, my sister has only been with this man for less than a year, the Ice Emperor thought unwillingly. I've been with my sister for countless years. Even if my sister was saved by this man, it shouldn't be like this. Wang Feng coughed a few times and hesitated for a few seconds. But he still walked over. The Ice Emperor twitched again when he saw this scene. He said unhappily, Wang Feng, why are you still hesitating? My sister has already opened a path for you. Why are you still hesitating for a few seconds before entering my sister's place? Wang Feng was stunned. He turned to look at the Ice Emperor. Do you know how to talk? Shut up. The Ice Emperor didn't know what he did wrong. Wang Feng was still looking at him strangely. What do you know? Your sister's situation is special now. She's comprehending a special ice law. Logically speaking, she should be fully focused. She can't split her attention to detect what's going on outside. She's doing this now, which means she's distracted. This isn't good for her. Wang Feng glared at the Ice Emperor. After he finished speaking, Wang Feng walked along the path that the cold air had created. Wang Feng could only sense the Snow Empress power when he walked to the ice bed. She was indeed evolving toward the level of a law, because he had comprehended it before. The stronger the law, the more terrifying the phenomenon. How did the 5 energy tides come about? It was because Wang Feng was comprehending the law, which caused a huge amount of life energy to leak out. The Snow Empress situation was similar. However, Wang Feng's law of life came from the spring tier. Hence, the phenomenon was even more terrifying. It was even more exaggerated than the cold air that the Snow Empress was exuding. Wang Feng walked to the ice bed and sat down. He looked at the Snow Empress in front of him and couldn't help but feel a sense of loss. After thinking for a long while, Wang Feng grabbed the Snow Empress' hand, and it became even colder. Since you asked me to come over, I'll tell you about what happened in the past few years. Wang Feng could feel the coldness. Because the Snow Emperor's body contained his blood, and because they were very close to each other, Wang Feng could feel the connection between them. There was an illusion of telepathy. After you fell asleep, many things happened on my side, Wang Feng said slowly. After the Snow Empress fell into a deep slumber, it was time for the final battle between the gods. That battle involved many things. The origin calamity deity king, the origin of the laws of life from the fusion of 2 pandemonium, the official establishment of the human alliance, and a situation in the divine realm. In the end, in order to prevent the Douluo world from exploding from the fusion of 2 pandemonium, Wang Feng sealed himself and comprehended the power within. Wang Feng knew very little about what had happened in the past 10,000 years. Wang Feng slowly recounted everything that happened until he woke up 10,000 years later. He recounted everything that he had encountered, including the people and the things that he had encountered. Other than the system, he also recounted how he comprehended his abilities, cultivated his avatar, and his second martial soul, the angel of light and dark. He also created a soul contract master and revived Lin Lord Bingmu. He also mentioned his speculations and opinions about the dark demon world. Wang Feng unhurriedly narrated his long and unhurried talk. Although Wang Feng spoke of these stories calmly, anyone who heard them now would be incomparably shocked. Even she would be shocked. Just the war that involved the God Kings in the divine realm was enough to make people feel like they were in a fantasy story. Anyone who heard it would be dumbfounded. Until now, I came to the extreme north again. Originally, I wanted to see Qing Qing and the rest. After that, I met the Shi Duo and disguised myself as a soul demon with her. I didn't expect to hear more news. Wang Feng glanced at the Snow Empress. You're also comprehending the laws of ice now. After that, you created your own godly seat and broke away from the category of a pure soul beast. Maybe you didn't care about the relationship between humans and soul beasts at that time. But you're a man, and you have to do what you say. I hope that when you wake up, you'll see a world where humans and soul beasts coexist peacefully. After creating her own godly seat and comprehending the power of the laws of ice, the Snow Empress had already broken away from the level of a soul beast. Accurately speaking, she was no longer a soul beast. So, nonsense. How can Sister not care? Unexpectedly, the Ice Emperor blurted out, "Sister is definitely very concerned about what you're doing. Even if she really creates her own godly seat, becomes a god, and breaks away from soul beasts, she will still care about this. She's very concerned about this. A soul contract master is such a great creation. I believe that you can do it in the future." Wang Feng looked at the Ice Emperor in astonishment. This ice scorpion had been listening quietly at the side. Unexpectedly, it didn't disagree with him this time. Instead, it supported him. "What are you looking at? I'm just helping Sister say what she wants to say." The Ice Emperor snorted when she saw Wang Feng looking at her. "I didn't expect a playboy like you to be so ambitious. However, you're quite honest. After you woke up, you met so many girls. Although you didn't say anything, I could feel from your story that a few of them had a good impression of you. You actually managed to control them? I can't help it. Outstanding men don't lack the love of the opposite sex," Wang Feng said. The Ice Emperor was speechless. The Ice Emperor was silent. After a long conversation, she didn't know if her sister heard it, but she was very shocked when she heard it, especially when she heard that Hui Yuhao wanted to create a soul contract master and change the current world. That shock was even greater than the War of Gods. One had to know that the Ice Empress had lived for many years, ever since soul masters had appeared. She didn't know how many years had passed. She knew that humans became soul masters by hunting soul beasts to obtain soul rings. This system had been established for many years. How difficult was it to change all of this? To change the most fundamental relationship between humans and soul beasts? It was impossible to do it if one didn't know, persevere, and have some faith. For this person to go this far for her sister, it was already very good. It was a pity that he was a guy. That's about it. Wang Feng exhaled, and his expression relaxed. He glanced at the Snow Empress and said, "My mouth is a little dry after talking so much. Let me reward you." After he finished speaking, Wang Feng kissed her. The Ice Emperor was speechless. The Ice Emperor watched as Wang Feng kissed her sister's lips. What was even more unbelievable was that her sister's face turned red. She instinctively used her tongue to lick Hui Yuhao's lips. "You're still trying to take advantage of me, even though you're asleep?" Wang Feng lifted his head and touched the Snow Emperor's face. "I've lost out." The Ice Emperor wanted to run over and use her scorpion tail to poke a few holes in Wang Feng's body. Hui Yuhao was the one who took advantage of her sister, but he still acted like he had lost out. Wang Feng walked over and looked at the furious Ice Emperor. He couldn't help but sneer. "You Ice Scorpion, I'm being intimate with your sister. Why are you peeping? Aren't you afraid of getting a needle eye? Come out with me. I have something to say to you." Looking at Wang Feng's back, the Ice Emperor used her sharp scorpion tail to poke Wang Feng a few times. Although she was poking the air, she seemed to be able to vent her anger. This made the Ice Emperor feel a lot better. Hui Yuhao walked out and realized that the sky was a little dark. They chatted for half a day. At the same time, when Wang Feng walked out of the Jade Emperor tree, he finally heard a familiar voice. "Congratulations on punching in successfully. You've been rewarded with a one-day trip to the God Realm. The host can break through the barrier and enter the God Realm for one day. But remember, the God Realm is very dangerous. If you're not strong enough, do not go." Next time, punching in location, Martial Soul Palace, Pillar of the Pinnacle. "Oh, one-day trip to the God Realm?" Wang Feng was shocked. This system is a little interesting. It can actually break through the barrier and enter the God Realm. One had to know that the God Realm and the Douluo world had lost contact. This meant that the Dark Demon Realm might have interfered. It wasn't that easy to enter the God Realm. The Dark Demon Realm must have interfered. It was naturally very dangerous. If my main body is still here, I should be able to go to the god realm immediately. I should be able to see them, right? Wang Fengxin's mind became active. Unfortunately, his main body was still comprehending the laws in the Divine Mountain. It would take at least a few years. It was impossible to leave the five-color Divine Mountain in a short time. Then, he could only rely on this clone. After cultivating to rank 80, Wang Feng wasn't afraid of ordinary gods. A few decades should have passed in the god realm. I wonder how Rongrong, Zhu Qing, and the others are doing? The god realm and the Douluo continent had lost contact for a period of time. After the fifth energy tide, Wang Feng didn't sense them coming down to see him. This meant that something might have happened in the god realm at that time. In BB Dawn, her cultivation should be very high in the god realm now. A message from the system. It evoked many thoughts in Wang Feng's mind. For a moment, Wang Feng wanted to reach rank 80 quickly and go to the god realm. One day was equivalent to 1 year in the Douluo world. With the system's nature, this kind of reward was actually predictive. It even reminded him that there might be no warm and fragrant women in the god realm. Perhaps there might be fierce battles, but even so, it couldn't stop Wang Feng's desire to go to the god realm. I can't rush. I'll wait for 1 or 2 years. Wang Feng took a deep breath. It had been so many years. There was no need to rush. Wang Feng was very satisfied with this reward. 1 or 2 years passed very quickly. It was really fast. If Wang Feng focused on cultivating, it would pass in a matter of minutes. But the next place to check in was the Martial Spirit Palace, the pillar of the summit. This meant that he might have to take maternity leave to participate in the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament Summit Group. He would have to fight with the continent's top experts, because the Summit Group's finals would be held at the pillar of the Martial Spirit Palace. That was also the only chance for the Central Martial Spirit Palace to open to the outside world. But if he wanted to enter the core area, he had to participate in the Summit Group's finals. After thinking for a moment, Wang Feng realized that Qing Qing and the rest had all appeared. "Master, how are you and Sister Shui?" Qing Qing flew to Wang Feng's side and rubbed against him. "The Snow Empress is doing well. I've talked to her about what happened to me over the years. She should only wake up after a few more days. At most, it'll be a few decades." Wang Feng smiled and stroked Qing Qing's head, combing the feathers on her head. "That's great. What's next?" Qing Qing swayed her feathers. Her body was very big now. She was more than twice as big as Wang Feng. However, she exuded a unique aura that mesmerized countless soul beasts. "Next, I'll be cultivating in the extreme north for a period of time." Wang Feng muttered. "About 10 months. When he left, Wang Feng knew the exact time of the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament. "Really?" Qing Qing was surprised. "Master, are you going to train him again?" "No," Wang Feng said snappily. "Aren't you looking down on yourself too much? With your current cultivation, you don't need me to train you anymore. Steadily improving is the best way." Hee hee. I didn't expect Master to cultivate in the extreme north for a period of time. Speaking of which, our extreme north has changed a lot. Although Qing Qing was very dignified and steady in front of other soul beasts, she was now like a child who wanted to show off her achievements to her parents. By the way, due to the previous soul demon, our king's tournament is about to begin. When the time comes, many powerful soul beasts will appear. Wang Fengxin was moved. He had heard about it before. The ice fox that he met in the absolute ice forbidden land had mentioned it. In the extreme north, various soul beast tournaments were held. There was a regional soul beast tournament that was held once every 50 years, and a king tournament that was held once every 100 years. This was a tournament for the best soul beasts in the extreme north. There were also many small tournaments under Odonisuchus. Soul beasts were more aggressive than humans. Of course, there were also some gentle soul beasts. However, soul beasts had a strong desire to fight in their blood. "Okay, I'll take a look when the time comes," Wang Feng said with a smile. "It's a pity. I don't know when the cowardly Kuan will recover. And that little Kuan shark." Qing Qing seemed to have thought of something and sighed. "That little guy is very smart. Its future is uncertain. I just followed Master's instructions and found that little Kuan shark and brought it back to whale shark and Kuan Kuan. However, its power has completely disappeared. It has become an ordinary soul beast. It has lost the bloodline power of whale, shark, and Kuan Kuan, and it has become extremely weak. Because the little Kuan shark's bloodline power had been completely absorbed and assimilated by Heiying, its soul was still in good condition. The rest were basically ordinary soul beasts. Some were even worse than ordinary soul beasts. Its life force was too weak. This kind of weak life form, coupled with the fact that the little Kuan shark had encountered this when it was just born, its physique was not strong either. It could not be nourished by various heaven and earth treasures. Many heaven and earth treasures had requirements on the physique of the person who consumed them. Otherwise, it would be easy to be shattered by the huge energy of those heaven and earth treasures. Don't worry, I have a way, Wang Feng said slowly. After all, it was the descendant of Wang Feng's younger brother. Wang Feng would not sit by and do nothing. What way do you have? The Ice Emperor asked as he followed Huiyu Hao out. I will nurture it personally. This is the way. Wang Feng smiled. Hearing this, Qing Qing and the Ice Emperor were stunned. Then why are you looking for me? The Ice Emperor asked. Experiment. What experiment? The Ice Emperor looked at Wang Feng cautiously. Don't think of using me for any experiment. I will not agree to it. What about your 600,000-year calamity? What if I can help you survive the calamity unscathed? Then, I can consider it. The Ice Emperor thought for a moment before replying. Then, Wang Feng told him about the Soul Renderer. This was because when he told the Snow Empress about the rules of soul charters, Wang Feng did not go into detail. When the Ice Emperor found out that if one became a soul beast and became a partner with a human, one could even avoid the calamity, he was stunned. Not only was he stunned, but he was also confused. Even Qing Qing was the same. It is still a theory. As soul charters have only appeared for a short time, I have not had the time to find a 100,000-year soul beast to test it out, especially one that is about to undergo the calamity. Therefore, I want to use your 600,000-year calamity to test it out. If the experiment is successful, you soul beasts will not have to worry about being struck to death by the calamity in the future. Wang Feng explained. Then, whose soul beast do I want to become? The Ice Emperor was silent for a few seconds before he suddenly asked. The calamity cannot be avoided, so I'm willing to give it a try. But who can become my soul charter? At this point, the Ice Emperor sounded a little proud. With her cultivation and strength, there were not many humans who wanted to become her soul charter. Master, of course. Qing Qing giggled. I don't want to. The Ice Emperor did not hesitate and rejected. I don't want to become a man's soul beast. Even if we are partners, I don't want to. Wang Feng pondered for a few seconds. This is troublesome, because he did not have a good candidate. With the Ice Emperor's strength and status, in order to become her soul charter, one must not be too weak, and one must have good talent in all aspects. Master, according to what you said, can a soul beast sign a life contract with another soul beast? Qing Qing suddenly asked. Wang Feng's mind was full of question marks. Qing Qing, you are thinking too much. You are jumping a little too fast. What I mean is, you can sign a life contract with a 100,000-year soul beast that has recultivated into a human. Qing Qing hurriedly added. Oh, Wang Feng heard. This idea is a little interesting. This is a little bit of a blind spot. Wang Feng pondered. He really did not consider this problem. But it should be possible, right? A 100,000-year soul beast that has transformed into a human is a human itself. But in fact, it still retains some of the soul beast characteristics. Speaking of which, can a life contract be signed? Ice Emperor, don't make things difficult for Master. He has already thought of such a way to help you pass the calamity, and you are still asking for this and that. You might as well become Master's soul beast. Anyway, you're free to do whatever you want in the future. Qing Qing saw that Wang Feng was deep in thought and hurriedly said, the life contract does not stipulate that a human can command both parties. Moreover, you will also gain many benefits. Master's essence blood, You have to know that Sister Shui has Master's Essence blood. If you also obtain Master's Essence blood, you'll be a real sister, and your relationship will go to a higher level. Wang Feng was stunned by Qing Qing's words. What kind of logic is this? After 10,000 years, why does Qing Qing's brain have all kinds of strange ideas? Seems like it makes sense. However, the Ice Emperor seemed to be moved. You still believe it? Wang Feng felt his head twitching. Then, the Ice Emperor looked at Wang Feng with a hesitant expression. She was still being evasive. If it's just a contract, we can only say that we each take what we need, but the soul contract itself has certain restrictions on both parties. Wang Feng thought for a while. However, I don't really need an ice-type soul beast, so forget it. Qing Qing's previous idea was not bad. You can find a soul beast that can cultivate into a human. 100,000-year soul beast could cultivate into a human. Although it was rare now, it was not non-existent. Because the number of 100,000-year soul beasts had increased, there were naturally some soul beasts that were unwilling to face the calamity and did not want to turn into ashes under the calamity, so it was not bad to cultivate into a human. In the extreme north, there were many 100,000-year soul beasts that did this. Furthermore, after these soul beasts cultivated into a human, their speed was extremely fast, and they did not have to worry about soul rings. The reason was naturally because many soul beasts that were about to die were willing to sacrifice their soul rings to them. At the same time, they retained some special characteristics of the soul beasts, such as vigorous vitality, and their martial souls originated from their previous soul beast form. There were many benefits. Thinking of this, Wang Feng was suddenly stunned, because there seemed to be a lot of benefits for soul beasts to cultivate into a human. Furthermore, the speed of cultivation of humans was extremely fast. 100,000-year soul beast would need at least 1,000 years to cultivate, but a talented soul master would only need 100 years to cultivate to become a titled Douluo. The only danger was that they would be discovered and hunted down by soul masters. But if humans and soul beasts coexisted peacefully, it might be possible for a 100,000-year soul beast to cultivate again in the future. However, after humans and soul beasts coexisted peacefully, soul charters would definitely flourish, and the 100,000-year soul beasts would not need to cultivate again. This was because the 100,000-year soul beasts were only afraid of the calamity and envious of the cultivation speed of humans. Since soul charters could do this, who would be foolish enough to cultivate again? Forget it then. In the extreme north, there are several 100,000-year soul beasts that have cultivated into a human. The Ice Emperor was not dissatisfied with Wang Feng's suggestion. When the time comes, if the calamity really disappears, I will thank you properly. After finalizing the plan, they could only wait. A few days later, Qing Qing gathered most of the soul beasts in the extreme north to come and watch the calamity. To be honest, many soul beasts were dumbfounded after learning about this situation. A 600,000-year soul beast calamity, such a scene still needed to gather soul beasts to watch? Didn't the heavenly tribulation hide far away, and they still wanted to watch? Wasn't that courting death? Basically, all 100,000-year soul beasts understood the power of the heavenly tribulation. Every time, it was the door of hell. As this experiment was of great importance, Wang Feng made a trip to the absolute ice forbidden land and called Zheng Yang and the rest from the Martial Soul Inspection Department over. Into this chapter. Chapter 1233. After the matter of the soul demons was resolved, there were obvious changes in the extreme north. Zheng Yang and the others stayed in the absolute ice forbidden land and didn't leave with Wang Feng. Moreover, they didn't know that Douluo was also here. Shiyu's actions were very mysterious. She hid in the investigation team, led by the 3 Douluo heavenly kings. She didn't tell anyone. When Wang Feng brought Zheng Yang and the others outside the extreme ice layer, he also explained the general situation to them. It couldn't be helped. This experiment needed to be witnessed by human powerhouses. She had already left, and as the inspection team, they were the best choice. As for how the soul demons were resolved, Wang Feng simply mentioned that Douluo appeared and joined forces with Qing Qing and the others to resolve the soul demons together, because this was the easiest way for them to accept. The fewer people who knew that he used a special identity to disguise himself as a soul demon, the better. He couldn't expose it because there were other dark demon chiefs. When the time came, Wang Feng could repeat the same trick and finish off these dark demon chiefs one by one. Wouldn't that be perfect? One had to know that before He Ying died, he didn't know the reason. When the soul black pearl shattered, He Ying couldn't do anything. Perhaps he thought that he had offended Wang Feng, the Dai demon god. Zheng Yang, Hua Ling Hai, He Hai, Lin Gang, Jiang Yun. With them as witnesses, it was equivalent to an official certification. In the end, no one would say anything about it. In addition, they still had the light shadow soul tool with them, so they could record this. When the time came, they could really announce it to the world and have sufficient and powerful evidence. Even the soul beasts in other forests could know this information. After the preparations, about the 8th day, the Ice Emperor's heavenly tribulation was finally coming. The location was west of the extreme ice layer. Since it was an experiment, then to prevent other situations from happening, the timing of signing a life soul contract had to be grasped well. And the signing partner was 100,000-year soul beast, the Green Lantern Ice Jade Pufferfish, who had been reborn as a human and was a woman. The Green Lantern Ice Jade Pufferfish was a special soul beast that originated from the depths of the Ice River in the extreme north 5,000 years ago. It was also called the Green Lantern White Jade Pufferfish. It was a rare soul beast with two opposing attributes. It had both the fire and ice attributes. It was also one of the strongest 100,000-year soul beasts that had been born in the extreme north in recent years. Regardless of whether it was cultivation or strength, they were only below the 8 overlords and were considered to be at the forefront. Later on, because he did not have the confidence to pass through the heavenly tribulation in 300,000 years, he had no choice but to cultivate again. However, after she was reborn as a human, she did not enter human society. Instead, she remained in the far north. It was because there was no need to go to human society. Although the Federation had many regulations regarding the soul beasts in the extreme north, humans were generally not allowed to hunt them. A soul beast that was reborn as a human would be safer. However, evil soul masters existed in this era, even though there weren't many of them. However, there were also soul masters who were even more evil than evil soul masters. Once they met, wouldn't it be over? Moreover, it was more comfortable to cultivate in the extreme north. There was no need to go to human society at all. After hearing the story of the white jade dolphin, Wang Fengxin wondered how Xiao Wu had managed to leave the Great Star Doe forest all those years ago. Wouldn't it be better to cultivate and become a titled Douluo in there? Why couldn't he figure it out? This Green Lantern Ice Jade Dolphin had just become a soul Douluo after she was reborn as a human. On the other hand, she was reborn as a human 30 years ago. Her aptitude and talent were very strong. According to the age of humans, she was only 30 years old. She had the appearance of an intellectual and elegant elder sister. Her name was Qingyu. She wore a long green dress and had long hair. Her face was delicate, and the smile on her face was always like a spring breeze. She was very suitable for the Ice Emperor. Qing did not tell the entire extreme north about the life-soul contract. This was because it would take some time. However, as the target of the Ice Emperor's soul contract, she would definitely tell him everything about the life-soul contract. After knowing that she was going to sign a life-soul contract with the Ice Emperor, the Green Lantern Ice Jade Dolphin was not overwhelmed by the favor. Instead, she was curious and shocked. She also felt very complicated. If I really succeed, then wouldn't my rebirth as a human be in vain? She did not know whether to laugh or cry. Although she said that, she still happily agreed. On the 8th day, the weather in the extreme ice layer was not good. Wang Feng sat in a corner and waited quietly. Dark clouds flickered in the sky, and lightning was hidden in the vortex. As the wind and clouds changed, that terrifying aura had already passed through the clouds and pressed down. Countless soul beasts trembled. Is this the heavenly tribulation? Zheng Yang, and the others looked at the flickering lightning in the vortex from the distant sky. That was not an ordinary lightning. Even tidal Douluo would be able to resist normal thunderbolts, even if they were weaker than normal lightning bolts. Some ruthless people even used it to temper their bodies. Therefore, that was not the heavenly tribulation. The heavenly tribulation represented the heavenly punishment, lightning tribulation. It was the punishment of the heavens, the rules of the world. If one wanted to break the rules, they had to accept this punishment. Wang Feng initially thought that this was a rule set by the God Realm Committee to prevent soul beasts from becoming gods after eliminating the dragon god. But as time passed, this seemed to have become the law of the world, unless the God Realm Committee personally changed this law. Unfortunately, after so many years, the God Realm Committee did not change it. They only said that the power of the heavenly tribulation would be weakened to a certain extent so that soul beasts could pass through it more easily. Wang Feng guessed that this might be done by Tang San, or might be Xiao Wu who asked Tang San to do so. But it still didn't have much effect. Over the years, the 100,000-year soul beasts that died under the heavenly tribulation were everywhere. I suddenly feel that it's very unfair. We humans don't need to go through this heavenly tribulation, but these soul beasts need to go through this terrifying heavenly tribulation. Jiang Yun said unhappily. Actually, there's nothing unfair about it. Soul beasts are naturally stronger than us. Is this fair? This is also unfair. Hihai shook his head and said, there's no fairness in this world. For such a powerful soul beast that is more than 500,000 years old, there aren't many tidal Douluo above rank 95 who can even touch its skin. Their strength has far surpassed us humans. On the contrary, I think it's fair. It's precisely because they're so strong that the rules of the world don't allow them to be like us humans. Their cultivation speed is very fast, and they don't need to go through any tribulations to become strong easily. The appearance of the life-soul contract has restricted both humans and soul beasts, but it has also unlocked more rules. A balance has been found between fairness and unfairness, allowing humans and soul beasts to complement each other's strengths and weaknesses. Hua Linghai pondered and said, but can the life-soul contract really allow 100,000-year soul beasts to avoid the heavenly tribulation? This question, it was also the question of all the soul beasts present. It was also the question of Qing Yu and the Ice Emperor. Rolling divine lightning was brewing, and Wang Feng sensed a similar aura. Judgment origin power. But Wang Feng realized that the Ice Emperor's 600,000-year lightning tribulation didn't seem to be stronger than his own lightning tribulation. In fact, Wang Feng had a feeling that he could control the lightning tribulation in the vortex. This feeling made Wang Feng a little stunned. It was at this moment that he was stunned. The Ice Emperor's beautiful body flew into the clouds. Although she was only a scorpion, her body was indeed like a work of art. It was very beautiful. Even Zheng Yang and the other four were amazed when they saw the Ice Emperor, one of the overlords of the extreme north. Boom! Thunderous sounds came from the sky, and the terrifying purplish-black divine lightning seemed to cover everything in the world. In that instant, most of the soul beasts present felt a natural fear in their hearts. Even from such a great distance away, Zheng Yang and the other four could still feel the power that could destroy the heavens and earth. However, this divine lightning didn't cause much damage to the Ice Emperor when it landed on her body. It was only because this was just the beginning. The five of them quickly took out their light image soul tools and recorded everything. There were many records of soul beasts' heavenly tribulations in the Federation's database, but there were no records of a 600,000-year lightning tribulation. Furthermore, this was related to the life-soul contract, so it had to be recorded. Following this, lightning bolts continuously struck the Ice Emperor's body. It was endless, as if the Ice Emperor was going to be smashed into pieces. After enduring close to 30 divine lightning bolts, the Ice Emperor's aura started to weaken. The 8 bright yellow, gem-like shells on her body were also incomparably dim. She was almost in a state of decline. If the lightning bolts continued, the Ice Emperor would probably die. Wang Feng focused his gaze into the distance. It was at this moment. The human girl, transformed from the Green Lantern Ice Jade, Dolphin flew into the clouds and started to form a life-soul contract with the Ice Emperor in midair. When a 100,000-year-soul beast formed a life-soul contract, it was terrifying. After all, even a 100,000-year-soul beast was easy, let alone the Ice Emperor. In that instant, icy light shot into the sky and enveloped the two of them, and an ancient and mysterious pattern appeared beneath their feet. Wisps of energy patterns that looked like drifting clouds danced in the air. Mysterious and ancient whispers sounded from their mouths. It wasn't a complicated life-soul contract. Before today, both the Ice Emperor and the Qingyu knew it by heart. In addition, one of them was a soul beast, so they had a very good rapport. The Ice Emperor and the Qingyu knew each other. Naturally, there was no conflict between them. On the contrary, they were very harmonious. Wang Feng stared closely. He didn't know if the law he added to the life-soul contract could change the laws of this world. After all, this was comprehended by the main body from the life law. The light gradually dissipated. However, the life-soul contract pattern under their feet soared into the sky and fell into the vortex in the clouds. Suddenly, the vortex that was originally bursting with thunder and rolling divine lightning slowly disappeared after the pattern entered. It was faintly discernible. Success. Wang Feng took a deep breath. The life-soul contract could indeed offset the power of the heavenly tribulation. This meant that the laws of this world were broken by the life-soul contract. Even if the God realm didn't make a move, it was broken. This meant that in the future, humans and soul beasts could become gods together and become God-rank experts. Wang Fengxian was still a little excited. He was very excited. At this moment, all the soul beasts, Zheng Yang, and the others were shocked. It was an unparalleled shock. Absolute shock. Whether it was for soul beasts or humans, this might be a historical moment. What did this mean for soul beasts? Basically, as long as a soul beast had intelligence, they would know. And for humans, this meant that a powerful 100,000-year soul beast would not refuse to become a human soul contract beast. This way, regardless of whether it was a high-level or low-level soul master, they would be able to find a powerful soul beast. Furthermore, the benefits were huge. One had to know that the ability a 100,000-year soul beast gave to a human through the life-soul contract was much more powerful than a 10-year, 100-year, or 1,000-year soul beast. Not to mention other things. How powerful was the vitality of a 100,000-year soul beast? If a human was given a little bit, even a high-level soul master's aptitude could be improved. The importance of this was self-evident. I feel like I'm witnessing history, and also an illusion of witnessing a miracle. Hua Linghai said in shock. The combat power of a high-level soul contract master will beat any soul master, soul engineer, or soul beast. He Hai continued, no high-level soul master can fight against a soul contract master who has a 100,000-year soul beast as a partner. I don't know what kind of uproar it will cause when we bring this news back to the Federation. Previously, when we saw the light shadow soul tool, Master Wang only said that it was theoretically possible. But now it's proven to be true. Jiang Yun praised. This soul contract master should be recorded in the history books. This is the biggest revolution in the history of the continent. Uproar might not be the case. The mainstream is still soul masters. Soul engineers who specialize in soul tools are still soul masters. Actually, humans now care more about witnessing power with their own eyes. Zheng Yang shook his head slightly, but this is a proof. No one will doubt that the life-soul contract is fake. Master Wang still needs a chance. You mean the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament, the Pinnacle Tournament? Hua Linghai continued. That's right. Only when he personally proves the strength of a soul contract master will the soul contract master spread across the continent. The five of them finished watching the heavenly tribulation that wasn't very long. Carrying the shock and hope in their hearts, they left the extreme north with the ice fox that Wang Feng found for Ma Xiaodao. However, all the soul beasts in the extreme north were still immersed in this shock. When the Ice Emperor landed on the ice surface, she was still a little dizzy. This was because she didn't have much hope before this. The heavenly tribulation represented the power of the heavens. How could it be neutralized by a soul contract? Thinking about it, she felt that it was too exaggerated and unrealistic. In fact, it wasn't just the Ice Emperor. Besides Qing, who trusted Wang Feng the most, no one else believed it. The heavenly tribulation had been threatening and suppressing soul beasts for countless years. How could it be neutralized so easily by such a situation? Even soul beasts wouldn't believe it. However, I didn't know how the life soul contract came about. 600,000 years ago, the Ice Emperor underwent the heavenly tribulation. 90,000 years ago, the shackles of the soul contract were broken. TSK. This is the content of chapter 330. Odanisukis used a specially made large brush to write this sentence. He was like a great poet. The others were a little silent. After 10,000 years, their boss had once again given them a huge surprise. The Ice Emperor's body was glowing with a faint purple light. It was obvious that she had been baptized by the heavenly tribulation. She came to Wang Feng's side and said with a strange tone, "Wang Feng, the experiment was a success. It seems like you didn't lie to me. How do you want me to thank you? I usually don't agree to those strange requests. Unless you insist, I can reluctantly agree. P.S. It's still 10,000 words. I originally wanted to write 2 more chapters, but I didn't write them. Let's start with 10,000 words. After stabilizing, I will try to reach a higher level. New week, please count votes." Chapter 1234. Request. Wang Feng thought for a long time and finally thought of a request. How about this? Use your scorpion tail and see if you can push it against your head. Wang Feng made this request. The Ice Emperor was confused. What the hell? Why did you make this request? The Ice Emperor was a little confused. Speaking of which, this doesn't seem to be a special request. Is there a deeper meaning? Why do you want me to control my tail and push it against my head? My tail is my treasure. Does he have thoughts about my scorpion tail? Oh, I once heard of such a rumor in an ancient book. Wang Feng replied, "Legend has it that if a scorpion can push its tail against its head, it can penetrate its entire body and merge with its entire body's soul power to evolve." Hearing this, the Ice Emperor was shocked. As the ruler of the Ice Jade Scorpion race, she had never heard of such a rumor. Look, your tail contains a special power. It's the tip of your power, but your head is the core of all living things. When these two come into contact, it might cause a special change. Wang Feng continued, "That seems to make sense. I'll give it a try." The Ice Emperor thought for a while and swung her tail. She tried her best to push the several sections of her tail against her head. One had to know that her tail was the sharpest part of her body. Any scorpion would have a strong control over their tail. However, the Ice Emperor's body was rather large. Although her tail was long, it was still difficult for her to reach her head. Fortunately, her tail was curved and extremely flexible. The Ice Emperor tried for a long time and finally saw that her tail was about to reach her head. His 4-meter-long body was tensed up like a sculpture, and he was trying his best to prop up his heels. She wanted to reach the front with all her might, but she was always a little short. Wang Feng watched from aside with a smile on his face. Unfortunately, the Ice Emperor was completely focused and didn't see Wang Feng's expression. In the end, the Ice Emperor stomped on the ground with its hind legs like a puppy digging into the ground, and its steel-like tail finally touched its head. However, before he could celebrate, he lost his balance due to overexertion, and his entire body bent over. Eye up. Seeing this, Wang Feng could not help but laugh. Hearing the laughter, the Ice Emperor quickly turned around and stood on the ice again. "What are you laughing at? I touched it with my tail just now, but it doesn't seem to have changed. That's probably because it's just a rumor. It might not be true. It could also be that your kind of icy jade scorpion is not suitable for such a transformation. Furthermore, you are the king of the icy jade scorpions, 100,000-year-old emperor scorpion. It's even more special. Wang Feng explained. I think so too. The Ice Emperor actually nodded. If there really was such a rumor, there's no way I wouldn't know about it. The ancient books you read should be deceiving people. You're someone who's lived for 10,000 years, and you can't even tell the truth from the rumors. How embarrassing. The Ice Emperor rolled his eyes at Wang Feng. You're right. I have something to do, so I'll leave first. I still have to find that little Kuan shark. Wang Feng coughed a few times and turned to leave. After saying that, Wang Feng immediately left. The Ice Emperor looked at Wang Feng's back and felt that something was wrong. Did something go wrong? After that, the Ice Emperor looked at the soul beasts around him, and his expression changed. Especially Qing Qing. Although she was just a bird, she was laughing silently and flapping her wings. She was obviously overjoyed. The Ice Emperor. The other soul beasts were also trying their best to hold back their laughter. They looked around as if it had nothing to do with them. The Ice Emperor. I think that rumor was made up by him, right? Qing Yu, who had just signed a life contract with the Ice Emperor, walked over and coughed a few times. You were too cute just now. Hearing this, the Ice Emperor's entire body turned red. Wang Feng, you tricked me. The Ice Emperor was furious. However, he did not dare to say anything. That was because everyone had left. Bing Bing, I didn't expect you to have such a cute side. Come, perform for me too. Poke your head with your scorpion tail. Qing Qing laughed as she flew over. Roll around while you're at it. It's a pity that we don't have soul tools like humans. Otherwise, we would have recorded that scene. You idiot. Why does Master need your gratitude? You're so distant. No wonder Master wants to tease you. The Ice Empress ignored Qing Qing. She made a hole in the ice with a few swoosh and then went in. He was both embarrassed and angry. Why did he listen to Wang Feng's words just now? Why didn't he think twice? When Wang Feng found the little Kuan shark, it was in an ice pit where the whale shark and the little Kuan shark lived. Wang Feng didn't really like the dwellings of soul beasts, and this ice pit was no different. If one were to say that it was crude, this ice pit was quite decent. Furthermore, both of them were extremely large. The ice pit was connected to the ice river below, allowing them to enter the ice river immediately. It was more suitable for the special, cowardly Kuan and the whale shark, which were amphibious soul beasts. They could fly and swim. The whale shark did not go to the scene of the Ice Emperor's 600,000-year calamity. She could only watch from afar. In addition, the little Kuan shark had not recovered yet and needed to be taken care of. There was also a little Kuan shark that was not in good condition. Hence, the whale shark did not go to the scene. However, with her size and senses, she could still sense the situation in the ice layer not far away. However, when Wang Feng arrived, the little Kuan shark was stubbornly digging into the ice pit. There were many special ice sculptures. These ice sculptures looked like toys. Wang Feng guessed that they were made by the little Kuan shark. After all, it was a father now. However, these ice sculptures were huge. They were 7 to 8 meters tall, and there were even some that were tens of meters tall. Besides the ice sculptures, there were many entertainment facilities. For example, there were long tunnels and shallow pits that were only tens of meters deep for the little Kuan shark to play in. However, these facilities were very new. This meant that the little Kuan shark was invaded by He-ing not long after it was born. As a result, these things and facilities were rarely used. Wang Feng could not help but sigh. Boss, why are you here? The whale shark flew over. Has the Ice Emperor's heavenly tribulation succeeded? Yes, it succeeded. Wang Feng nodded and looked at the little Kuan shark and the little Kuan shark that was silent in the ice pit in the distance. The little Kuan shark's condition was recovering well. In the past few days, its consciousness had gradually recovered. At most, it would fully recover in a few days. I came here for this little guy. The little Kuan shark, not far from Wang Feng. At this moment, it was using all its strength to push a crystal clear ice ball. And because its bloodline power had disappeared, its vitality had been weakening. At the same time, its body was also gradually weakening. When he saw it at He Ying's place, the little Kuan shark was still 3 to 4 meters long. One had to know that when it was born, it was more than 10 meters long. When it was born, its body was larger than many soul beasts. But after the bloodline power disappeared, it gradually became an ordinary soul beast and lost the power that its parents gave it. Its current body was less than a meter. It was like a pocket-sized soul beast Kuan shark. It had shrunk by a full 10 times. The shrinking of the body meant that the energy of the body would weaken in all aspects. Moreover, whether it was the Dark North Emperor Devil Kuan or the 10,000 demon whale shark, they both had extremely powerful elemental powers. The little Kuan shark was of the darkness and ice element, while the 10,000 demon whale shark was of the darkness and water element. But the little Kuan shark didn't have any of them now. It didn't have any of them. It had become a real, ordinary soul beast. Even the cold in this place, if the whale shark didn't leave a soul skill imprint on the little Kuan shark, it could resist the cold. It couldn't even give birth for a long time alone. This might be a soul beast weaker than the rock beast that was reborn from the evil dragon. Little Sean? The whale shark was stunned. Boss, why are you looking for Little Sean? Little Sean is now halfway through. The whale shark paused. What's wrong? Wang Feng asked. The whale shark sighed softly. Before Little Sean was born, Brother Kuan gave Little Sean a new name. Do you know what it is? What? Wang Feng asked. This little Kuan shark was a brand new soul beast before. It was born from 200,000-year soul beasts, which was very rare. And it wasn't an ordinary 100,000-year soul beast. It's called the sea-covering Emperor Kuan shark, the whale shark said. It's a very impressive name, Wang Fengxin said. It seemed that the cowardly Kuan shark had high hopes for its offspring. Little Sean is a very smart child. He works very hard and is very talented. In less than a month after he was born, his cultivation has reached 100 years. The whale shark said, He's very talented indeed. Wang Feng nodded. One had to know that the sea-covering Emperor Kuan shark didn't have a life soul contract. The sea-covering Emperor Kuan shark had a strong bloodline power, so it was very difficult for him to increase his cultivation. When Long Xie had reincarnated as a Stoneclaw beast, he'd signed a life contract with him and obtained his own essence blood. On top of that, he was a million-year soul beast. He was also a million-year soul beast, but it still took him more than a week to reach 100 years of cultivation. Although the little Kuan shark was much slower than Long Xie, it wasn't easy for him to reach 100 years of cultivation in a month. But now, his bloodline power has been taken away, and his talent is gone. He can't even be called a soul beast. Only those with cultivation could be called a soul beast. Those without cultivation were just wild beasts. It's very difficult to cultivate into a soul beast. The whale shark's voice was a little sad. He's training himself now. He wants to continue cultivating. I want to let him stay by Emperor Qing's side and use his power to help him recover slowly. But it'll take a long time. We don't know what he'll become. That's why I'm here. Wang Feng looked at the little Kuan shark in the distance. I'll sign a life soul contract with him and help him cultivate. With Qing's power, she won't be able to change him in a short time. As time goes by, it'll have a great impact on his mental state, and he'll be crippled easily. The little Kuan shark was too young. No matter how strong his will was, there was a limit to it. Boss you? The whale shark was stunned. You don't have to do it personally. She feared Wang Feng more than she respected him. So when she heard that, she was flattered. The cowardly Kuan shark is my little brother. I have to take care of his offspring. Of course, more importantly, I have a deep impression of this little Kuan shark. The deep impression naturally came from the little Kuan shark's eyes. Cold and determined, angry and unwilling. But he didn't make a sound and was very calm. What good quality. He doesn't look like me at all. The whale shark probably didn't think about it before, because he felt that with Master's identity, how could he sign a life soul contract with Xiao Shan? Look at Master's soul beasts. They were all awesome existences. Let's not talk about others, just that Lin Lord Bing Mu. If Xiao Shan was still the overturning Sea King Kuan shark, the whale shark felt that there might be some possibility. But now she's about to become a beast. Why would Master like her? He didn't expect boss to be boss. He didn't play by the rules. Okay, there's no need to say more. Wang Feng looked at the whale shark's touched expression and waved his hand. Then, he walked towards the little Kuan shark. At this moment, the little Kuan shark was still trying to use its degenerating wings to push the ice ball that was more than twice its size. It hoped to gain strength through training and reduce the weakness of its body. Wang Feng watched for a while. After pushing it for more than 10 meters, the little Kuan shark was already out of strength. Because the ice surface was trembling, the ice ball was pushed back towards the little Kuan shark and went over its body. Fortunately, the ice ball wasn't too heavy. It didn't hurt the little Kuan shark at all. "Master, you want to help him?" Landlord Bing Mu flew out and asked. "Yes, that's difficult." Long Xia also flew out from Wang Feng's soul ring. He looked at the little Kuan shark and shook his head. Given his current situation, it's best for him to be reborn. Why don't you let your two underlings create Smurfs? Wang Feng knocked Long Xia on the head, causing it to cry out. "Boss, I'm just speaking the truth." Long Xia covered his head that was red and swollen. He said arrogantly, "Don't say it, boss. Unless you let your original body, that golden flower, nurture him, he can't be nurtured at all. Even if you sign a life soul contract, you'll only give him a drop of essence blood. A drop of essence blood is not very useful. More importantly, his body is too weak. He's not even a soul beast. He can't withstand a drop of your essence blood. He'll die immediately." Long Xia was speaking the truth. His bloodline power has been taken away. Furthermore, his original body is a Kuan shark. Such a huge body drains a lot of energy. Landlord Bing Mu said slowly, "Without a matching bloodline power, he can't withstand it. That's why his body is shrinking. He's turning into an ordinary soul beast. There's no other way. A life soul contract wasn't omnipotent. Furthermore, a life soul contract was a soul contract between a soul beast and a human. If he wasn't even a soul beast, he might not be able to sign it." Just as Long Xia said, this little Kuan shark could only be nurtured by the golden lotus to recover a little. However, he would only recover to become a soul beast. He wouldn't be the Emperor Kuan shark from before. The golden lotus couldn't create bloodline power out of thin air. "Nothing is impossible in this world," Wang Feng said. "I don't want him to become a soul beast. I don't think the path of a soul beast is suitable for him." "Oh." Long Xia and Landlord Bing Mu looked at Wang Feng in surprise. They didn't know what new ideas this boss had. "Little fellow, do you want to become stronger?" Wang Feng walked in front of the little Kuan shark and said calmly, "Follow me if you want to become stronger." After that, Wang Feng left without looking back. Long Xia and Landlord Bing Mu looked at each other. They saw the surprise in each other's eyes. The little Kuan shark was stunned for a long time. It only got up when Wang Feng was more than 10 meters away. It stumbled and flew over. His flight was like a butterfly with half a wing missing. He wouldn't be able to fly for long before falling to the ground. This was because its wings had deteriorated. However, it still followed. He looked young, but this kind of experience had already opened his mind to some extent. Although its bloodline power had been taken away, its soul was still intact. Its consciousness was still there, and its intelligence was still there. Who was Wang Feng? It was impossible for him not to know. Before he was born, Cowardly Kuan had told him stories of his youth when he was still in the whale shark's stomach about Wang Feng, a special existence. He had known about it for a long time. A mysterious and powerful human with endless possibilities. Doctor of Soul Beasts. This was the title he had given himself back then, and it was praised by countless soul beasts in the extreme north. He knew that his father's tone was full of respect and admiration when he talked about this human. He wanted to become stronger. He didn't want it at first, but after being hurt by the soul demon, he really wanted to. He hated himself for not killing that soul demon. As a father, the Cowardly Kuan shark was more of a Buddhist. He didn't work hard on cultivation. However, as a father, he often had high hopes for his offspring. Just like the Cowardly Kuan shark, although he was more of a Buddhist and didn't put much effort into cultivation, he had high hopes for his offspring. He didn't want his son to be as Buddhist as him. Therefore, he instilled many thoughts in the little Kuan shark to become stronger. He didn't want to waste his talent. That was why the little Kuan shark was in such a situation. It stumbled and followed Wang Feng out of the extreme ice layer. Outside the extreme ice layer, there was still dark demonic energy and evil soul beasts. Danger. It was really dangerous. What is Boss trying to do? There aren't any protective measures outside. This little Kuan shark can't live for long, right? Long Xie frowned. Let's just wait and see. Boss naturally has his own ideas. Landlord Bing Mu said, if you can think of something, you'll be the boss. Old Bing, I feel offended by your words, Long Xie said unhappily. I was feared by all the soul beasts in the great Star Doe forest. Do you know how many soul beasts cried and begged to be my underling? Aren't you boss's underling now? A real man doesn't boast about his past achievements. What's the point of that? What you are now is what you are, Landlord Bing Mu said. All right. Long Xie didn't know what to say. On the other side, Whale Shark flew over. She looked on worriedly. She knew what Wang Feng was capable of. However, the little Kuan shark didn't hesitate when it flew out with Wang Feng. It was as if it wasn't afraid that the dark demonic energy outside would hasten its death. It didn't say a word as it followed behind Wang Feng. It believed that Hui Yuhao wouldn't let it die outside. There had to be a powerful way to help it. It held on to this belief and thought. It didn't know how long it walked until it was dizzy. It was about to pass out from the impact of the dark demonic energy. It finally saw Wang Feng stop. Not bad. You can keep up. Wang Feng turned around and looked at the little Kuan shark. He said, do you feel like your spirit is about to be crushed? Dark demonic energy is a special kind of energy. The reason why it can infect soul beasts and turn them into evil soul beasts is because the dark demonic energy conflicts with soul power when it enters a soul beast body. At the same time, the dark demonic energy has a strong sense of evil. It's a huge blow to the spirit of weak soul beasts. The weaker the soul beast, the harder it is for it to withstand the impact of the dark demonic energy. Powerful soul beasts, like your father, can use their strong willpower and spirit to resist the dark demonic energy. But you're different. You're not a soul beast. You're so weak that the dark demonic energy won't even conflict with your body. Wang Feng paused for a moment upon saying this. All along, Wang Feng had doubts about the dark devil qi, which was an extremely aggressive dark energy. The dark demonic energy would infect soul beasts and turn them into evil soul beasts. They would lose their consciousness and only have some instincts left. Then the question was, how do the creatures in the dark demonic world absorb the dark demonic energy and not get infected? The question was simple. It was the influence of the environment and genes. Then, where did these two factors come from? It was none other than the creatures in the dark demonic world. They had been living in the dark demonic world since they were young and had already adapted. Just like the humans in the Douluo world, they were naturally adapted to the origin energy of heaven and earth. If they went to other places, like a certain ball, they might be poisoned to death by all kinds of smog and dust. Do you feel it's very easy? Do you feel like your head is going to explode? Do you feel uncomfortable all over? Wang Feng asked. The little Kuan shark nodded reluctantly. That's right. The little Kuan shark. Little fellow, you're the most ordinary beast now. You haven't cultivated any soul power. Wang Feng said slowly. If your body can adapt, do you know what will happen? The little Kuan shark shook its head. On the other side, Long Xie and Lord Isimu took a deep breath. Boss, is he thinking of? Long Xie was shocked. He wants this little Kuan shark to cultivate into a soul demon? Lord Isimu was also shocked. They didn't think of that. Wang Feng actually had such an idea. It was a bold and imaginative idea, and a little ridiculous. How is that possible? Long Xie couldn't believe it. Impossible? Under normal circumstances, it was impossible. That was because so many soul beasts were infected by the dark demonic energy and became evil soul beasts. Even the little Kuan shark wasn't spared. This meant that soul beasts couldn't avoid this situation. But nothing was absolute. Chapter 12:35. In the beginning, Wang Feng also thought that it was impossible. But after thinking about it, he suddenly thought that since it was impossible for soul beasts to be affected, it was because soul beasts had already formed and cultivated soul power. Their bodies could no longer adapt to the dark demonic energy, so they would definitely be affected and infected by the dark demonic energy. The influence on the body would cause the soul to be affected even more. But since soul beasts could not do it, then what about ordinary wild beasts? And wild beasts that were just born? Would it work? The dark demonic energy was very infectious to soul beasts. Then what about wild beasts? Wild beasts did not absorb the energy of heaven and earth. Their bodies were relatively pure. The conflict with the dark demonic energy was much smaller than soul beasts. If wild beast bodies could adapt to the dark demonic energy, then did that mean wild beasts could cultivate the dark demonic energy? Cultivate from scratch? He had become a special existence. There was a problem. Wild beasts did not have intelligence, and the dark demonic energy would instantly destroy their souls. But this small Kuan shark was very special because it had intelligence. But because of its body, it degenerated into a wild beast. Could this special characteristic allow it to adapt to the dark demonic energy and cultivate it? This idea had a certain element of experimentation. If it could succeed, then it would be interesting. Think about it, a wild beast that could cultivate the dark demonic energy, what could it become in the end? Wang Feng walked to the small Kuan shark side. One had to know that the dark demonic energy was more powerful than the Douluo's energy of heaven and earth. If it could cultivate it, this meant that the small Kuan shark would become very powerful. Logically speaking, if Wang Feng trained the small Kuan shark to cultivate again, there would be many problems. Because it did not have bloodline power, at least in the Soul Beast system, the small Kuan shark's cultivation speed would be much slower. Therefore, Wang Feng tried to let the small Kuan shark walk another path, the path of those soul demons. He had to admit that although the soul demons from the dark demonic realm did not have good intentions, they were indeed strong. At least in the same realm, there was basically no one who could defeat them. There was only one like Shiyu in the entire Douluo world. Wang Feng quietly looked at the small Kuan shark as the dark demonic energy invaded its body. Its body was suffused with waves of black light patterns, and its soul consciousness was suffering a huge impact. It was as if it was going to collapse at any time. But it was like a blade of grass on the edge of storm, as if it would be blown into the sea by the storm at any time. Ken always had an indomitable will that supported him. He had reached his limit. Wang Feng knew that after the dark devil chi entered the little Kuan shark's body, his entire body was changed by the dark devil chi. If it was a soul beast, the dark demonic energy would clash with its soul power and cause intense pain. It was like a drop of water in hot oil that would explode. Such an explosion would destroy the soul beast consciousness. However, the little Kuan shark was different. It had no soul power. There would not be an explosion in his body. What he was enduring now was only the changes that the dark devil chi had caused to his body. Although it was still painful, it was different. If he didn't have intelligence, he wouldn't have been able to hold on. Then, he would have been stuffed to death by the dark devil chi and wouldn't have been able to hold on for more than a few seconds. But he did. Not only that, there was also Wang Feng. When Wang Feng sensed that the little Kuan shark could not hold on any longer, he unleashed his martial soul and quickly absorbed the dark devil chi in the little Kuan shark's body. It gave his body a buffer. The little Kuan shark's willpower was still limited. It could hold on for a while, but not forever. Following that, Wang Feng gently waved his hand and released a soul power barrier, isolating the external temperature and dark devil chi, allowing the little Kuan shark to slowly recover. He looked at the whale shark, who was a little dazed, and said, "I can let him live a peaceful life. Do you understand what I mean? But if he wants to become stronger, he has to take this step. If he wants to reach a level that soul beasts cannot reach, he has to pay a higher price. He is now a wild beast, not a soul beast. This is the worst outcome, but on the other hand, it is also a new beginning. But this path will be full of thorns. It will prick his entire body, but as long as he can walk through it, he will be stronger than any soul beast." Wang Feng was not bragging about this. If the little Kuan shark could cultivate the dark devil chi, he would be the first wild beast in this world to be able to cultivate the dark devil chi. At the same time, he would no longer be a soul beast. Instead, he would be a dark devil beast that only appeared in the dark devil world. Soul demon. The whale shark moved his lips. Even though he was in so much pain just now, he didn't cry out. I knew that he was willing to do this. The whale shark whispered, "Boss, I believe you. If the little Kuan shark is awake, he will also believe you." Seeing her son in so much pain, as a mother, she naturally felt uncomfortable. Wang Feng nodded slightly. His will is stronger than I imagined. Speaking of which, even I can't compare to him back then. He will succeed. Boss, you must be joking. How is that possible? The whale shark didn't believe it. Wang Feng laughed a few times and thought to himself, of course you don't know how lazy I was back then. But if Wang Feng were to do it all over again, even without the system, Wang Feng would be able to reach the top, although he might not be as strong as he was now. A person's confidence and willpower were especially important. Of course, a certain amount of luck was also needed. Wang Feng felt that he could reach this point because of his confidence and willpower. Most importantly, Wang Feng felt that his luck was not bad. And for the little Kuan shark, he did not lack confidence and willpower, especially because he had a deep hatred for the soul demon that he would never forget. With this, the little Kuan shark would not give up easily. As for his luck, Wang Feng was his luck. I will train him slowly in the next few days. We should be able to see the results in a month. Wang Feng said, "You can go back first." The whale shark nodded and turned to look at the little Kuan shark for a long time before he left silently. Boss, if you do this, aren't you afraid that he will become an evil soul beast? Long Xia walked over and asked, if he can't change back, won't that be bad? Evil soul beasts are mutated creatures. They are formed when soul beasts are infected by dark demonic energy. You shouldn't call him an evil soul beast. You should call him a soul demon or a dark demonic beast. Wang Feng corrected. What's the difference? Long Xia was puzzled. Boss, you mean to let him cultivate dark demonic energy? Qilin Lord Bing Mu pondered for a few seconds. It seems feasible. Dark demonic energy is a powerful energy. We soul beasts can't adapt to it because it conflicts with our soul power. But this little Kuan shark has no cultivation and no bloodline power. His body is very pure, but he has intelligence. Boss, do you want to use a month to let his body be modified by dark demonic energy and adapt to it? Qilin Lord Bing Mu suddenly trembled. Long Xia, don't brag in the future. Look at him. He's much smarter than you. Wang Feng glared at Long Xia. Qilin Lord Bing Mu hit the nail on the head. This was indeed Wang Feng's idea. Long Xia. Boss, there's a problem. Long Xia quickly displayed his intelligence. Look, dark demonic energy is different. Even if his body adapts to dark demonic energy, you have a way to cultivate it, right? It's different from how we cultivate soul power. If he doesn't have a way to cultivate, his progress will be very slow. Oh, it seems like you need to scold him to become smarter, right? Wang Feng looked at Long Xia in surprise. Long Xia was right. Cultivating dark demonic energy was not cultivating the luck of heaven and earth in the Douluo world. What he cultivated was not soul power. In that case, the cultivation method was different. If he just absorbed it, it would be useless. In fact, different soul beasts had different cultivation methods. This was because every soul beast had a huge difference in size, talent, bloodline, and especially physique. Most soul beasts relied on their instincts to absorb the origin energy of heaven and earth before they gained sentience. They slowly converted it into soul power in their bodies. After a soul beast gained intelligence, its cultivation speed increased by quite a bit. Because soul beasts could actively absorb the origin energy of heaven and earth to explore different cultivation methods, their cultivation speed would increase. This was also the reason why life soul contracts could increase a soul beast's cultivation speed. However, this did not apply to dark demonic energy. Have you forgotten that I collected the souls of those soul demons? Also, He Ying's Black Soul Pearl has records of this. Wang Feng smiled. As a soul demon, it was impossible for him not to know the cultivation method of dark, demonic energy. Therefore, Wang Feng had thought of all this. It wasn't a groundless rumor. Then I'll wait and see what kind of monster you can nurture this time, boss. Long Xie chuckled. Wang Feng smiled and walked in front of the young Kuan shark. He was also looking forward to it. In the following days, Wang Feng began the first stage of training. He trained the young Kuan shark until it could adapt to the dark demonic energy. The process was very boring. The process was very simple. He just had to let the dark demonic energy enter the young Kuan shark's body and modify it. The modification process was a little like genetic recombination. Naturally, it was painful. Wang Feng had to keep an eye on the young Kuan shark. When a young Kuan shark couldn't take it anymore, he would absorb the dark demonic energy in its body. This would allow the young Kuan shark to have a buffer. To help the young Kuan shark relax, Wang Feng would play games with it and tell it stories. At the same time, he would use the ingredients in the extreme north to make some simple food for it. Of course, he couldn't let the young Kuan shark suffer in such a painful environment for a long time. It needed to be relaxed when appropriate. However, most of the time, it was suffering from the dark demonic energy. This was also a form of cultivation for Wang Feng. In the beginning, the young Kuan shark needed half a day to recover every time he was modified. Furthermore, the troublesome thing was that he couldn't use the healing soul skills of soul beasts to recover. This was because these soul skills contained soul power. Once these soul skills were used, the young Kuan shark's body would recover. However, he also regretted that he couldn't cancel out the modification brought about by the dark demonic energy. It was equivalent to doing everything for naught. He could only rely on his own healing abilities to recover slowly. Only in this way could his body be truly modified by the dark demonic energy. Half a month later, the young Kuan shark finally underwent significant changes. First, it was his body. From its original Kuan shark appearance, it became bigger. Its entire body glowed with a black crystalline light. As it didn't inherit any bloodline power, it didn't officially start cultivating. It also didn't possess any elements. However, its body was much stronger than before. Its fan-like wings also became much bigger. Its body seemed to have anti-gravity abilities. Without flapping its wings, it could stay in mid-air temporarily. It seemed that the modification of the dark demonic energy caused the young Kuan shark to be less restrained by the gravity of the Douluo world. Even if it didn't cultivate and didn't use its wings, it could still stay in mid-air, float. Secondly, the strength of its body had increased. Whether it was its strength, speed, or other aspects, it was much stronger. For example, the ice ball that the young Kuan shark had to push with all its might could be sent flying now. It wasn't an earth-shattering change, but it was definitely a visible change. This dark demonic energy is really powerful. Wang Fengxin said, to soul beasts, it was a disaster. But to the young Kuan shark, it was the beginning of a change. The young Kuan shark was like a key to unlocking a treasure. As long as it was used correctly, it could obtain a lot of wealth from this seemingly poisonous treasure. The key was that it was an exception. Ordinary wild beasts couldn't do this. Because wild beasts had low intelligence, they couldn't withstand the dark demonic energy. Before they could be modified, their souls would be destroyed. In addition, Wang Feng was helping from the side. Even if it hadn't cultivated the dark demonic energy, Wang Feng realized that the young Kuan shark was already comparable to soul beasts with decades of cultivation. That's an icicle snake with more than 40 years of cultivation. It's only 3 to 4 meters long, and its venom contains ice poison. It will be very effective for you because you're not an ice soul beast. See if you can defeat it. Wang Feng pointed to a half-meter-long icicle snake on a tree in front of them. It looked small, but it was very strong. This was the soul beast forest in the extreme north. Because the dark demonic energy was disappearing, the soul beasts in the extreme north were starting to recover. The young Kuan shark nodded and floated towards the icicle snake excitedly. It didn't make a sound. His body was now more than a meter long, close to 2 meters. After half a month of modification, he had changed a lot. But it wasn't the kind that was particularly shocking. Fortunately, The dark demonic energy was modifying him now and wouldn't make him feel very painful. The young Kuan shark's speed was very fast. He couldn't maintain this suspension for long because his muscles couldn't take it. Hiss! When he was only a few meters away from the icicle snake finally reacted. It turned around abruptly and sprayed an icicle green venom at the young Kuan shark. This venom was very corrosive. Soul beasts of the same cultivation would be corroded through their bodies. Only soul beasts that were more than 100 years old and had strong enough bodies would not be corroded. The venom was very fast. The young Kuan shark's reaction was also very fast. He spread his wings and shook violently. Like a plane, he dodged to the side, but his back was still hit. However, the venom only made a sizzling sound when it landed on his back. It didn't corrode his body. His body was very strong. Wang Feng, who was watching from afar, was amazed. The modification of the dark demonic energy was indeed powerful. Those soul demons were so strong for a reason. Immediately after, the young Kuan shark pounced forward. He didn't even think and didn't use any other moves. He only used his body to press down on the icicle snake, as if he was pressing down on the top of the mountain. The icicle snake was about to spit out its gallbladder. At the moment when he pressed down, Wang Feng's eyes flashed. He could clearly feel the young Kuan shark's body muscles contracting and increasing in density. It was as if all the strength in his body was pressed down on the icicle snake's abdomen like steel. The modification of the dark demonic energy also changed the young Kuan shark's body density greatly. It's very malleable. It's incredible. If this continues, I don't know what kind of powerful monster will be born. Wang Feng's eyes were uncertain. He didn't know what his third soul-bonded beast would become. P.S. 10,000 words. Chapter 1236. The world was just so coincidental. The small shark's change was Wang Feng's reverse thinking, and normal people would not have thought of it. Even Lin Lord Bing Mu and Long Xie did not expect Wang Feng to do this. But the benefits were obvious. After being modified by the dark demonic energy for half a month, the small shark could be compared to these soul beasts with cultivation. If this continued, when the small shark's body completely adapted to the dark demonic energy and started to cultivate, no one knew what would happen. The success would depend on the small shark's own potential and how Wang Feng nurtured it. He watched as the small Kuan shark crushed the icicle snake until its bones fell apart. The icicle snake ran away in anger, but it could not do anything to the small shark. No choice, it cannot beat it. Wang Feng walked over, and the small shark rolled around in the snow, as if it was very excited. Previously, it was immersed in unwillingness and sorrow. It was sad that it was weak, and sad that its bloodline was stolen. But it was still the descendant of a cowardly Kuan and whale shark, and it always had pride and unwillingness. Now that it found hope again, it could clearly feel that it had become stronger after suffering for half a month. After tasting this fruit, it was naturally very happy. Although it was only a few decades old soul beast, to be able to easily defeat it with the body of a wild beast, this feeling of accomplishment was a stimulant to it. Don't be happy too early. Wang Feng came over and poured cold water on it. The dark demonic energy is very special, and every change will make you feel so much pain that you want to die. Even if your body adapts, it will still be the same. Little fellow, the road is long. The small shark flew up and retracted its joy, and followed behind Wang Feng again. The following days were still boring for it. The modification of the dark demonic energy was accumulated over time. Wang Feng set a limit of 1 month, because according to the normal process, 1 month was enough for the small shark body to completely adapt to the dark demonic energy. At that time, it could really start to cultivate the dark demonic energy. The method to cultivate the dark demonic energy was in He Ying's memory. So Wang Feng was not worried about this. If it really did not work, Wang Feng could test it. Another half a month passed. Actually, on the 25th day, Wang Feng found that the small shark could already start to cultivate the dark demonic energy. The dark devil chi in the extreme north still existed. However, without the soul demons, the density of the dark devil energy was decreasing. He could use this opportunity to let the little Kuan shark absorb the dark devil energy and purify the extreme north. However, in comparison, with the little Kuan shark's current cultivation speed, it was still too early for it to absorb all the dark devil chi in the extreme north. 1 month. The little Kuan shark's body was more robust, but his body did not grow much. It was less than 2 meters long and still looked like a pocket-sized kraken. However, its mouth had shark-like teeth, which made it look like a flying fish. The fan-like wings on both sides began to turn reddish-black. His whirlpool-like eyes were clear and full of spirit, completely unlike the absent-minded, ice-cold, and mentally unstable appearance from a month ago. His outer appearance did not change drastically, but his inner self had changed quite a bit. If one hadn't experienced it, they wouldn't be able to feel it. Wang Feng had to admit that the dark devil chi was indeed much stronger than the heaven-earth yuan chi of this world. Naturally, it was strong in terms of destructive power. Simply put, a soul skill that used dark devil chi would be much stronger than a normal soul skill. On the other hand, it would also have to bear the negative effects of the dark devil chi. The stronger the ability, the higher the requirement for the body's strength. Therefore, it was natural that his cultivation would be very slow. At least, the little Kuan shark was like this. His comprehension was very high. Even if his body was modified by the dark devil chi, it was not worth mentioning to the creatures of the dark devil world. However, in the Douluo world, it was much stronger than those of the same level. Wang Feng believed that if it continued to cultivate like this, the little Kuan shark would achieve something. It would not be a problem for him to surpass the Kraken shark. It really succeeded. A month later, when Long Xie and Lin Lord Bing Mu saw the little Kuan shark, they could not help but exclaim, "What was this? The first shadow demon beast in the Douluo world? A creature that surpassed soul beasts and evil soul beasts? Soul demon? In the dark devil world, soul demons referred to creatures that cultivated dark devil chi. After the wild beasts in the dark devil world cultivated dark devil chi, they were called shadow demon beasts. They corresponded to soul beasts. However, soul demons referred to creatures with high intelligence. For example, Mo Yin, Mo Yuan, and Heiying. They were similar to the humans in the Douluo world. It was just that their bodies were different. The birth of this little fellow is a coincidence. Lin Lord Bing Mu shook his head and said, "As a wild beast, it has intelligence. Only then can it withstand the transformation brought by dark devil chi. However, how can a normal wild beast have intelligence? Those with intelligence are all soul beasts. They cannot be transformed by dark devil chi." His bloodline power was absorbed by Heiying, and he turned from a soul beast into a wild beast. However, because of this, he had a chance. With Boss's help, he became an even stronger shadow demon beast. I can only say that fortune and misfortune go hand in hand. Even Lin Lord Bing Mu sighed. A month later, Whale Shark and the recovered Kraken Shark came to visit the little Kuan shark. Naturally, they sighed. Kraken Shark had turned into an evil soul beast, but its consciousness was still there. It was just that it could not control it. Naturally, it remembered what happened. At this moment, although its son had changed greatly, it had become stronger. Naturally, it was relieved. After that, Wang Feng brought the little Kuan shark to the extreme north to continue cultivating. The location was naturally the Four Absolutes, Myriad Elephant Valley. 9 months, half a year. During these 9 months of the rainy season, Wang Feng needed to raise his level to LV 40 or above. The first and second soul rings were provided by Long Xie. The third soul ring was provided by Lin Lord Bing Mu. The fourth soul ring could also be provided by Lin Lord Bing Mu. After Wang Feng had dealt with Heiying, Long Xie had returned from the Four Extremes Manifestation Valley to meet Qing Qing and the others. However, Lin Lord Bing Mu was not old enough to provide a fourth soul ring. It needed at least 30,000 years of cultivation to provide Wang Feng with a second soul ring. It was different from Long Xie's 10,000 years of cultivation. This had something to do with the level of their power. If he wanted to provide a third soul ring, Wang Feng estimated that it would need at least 100,000 years of cultivation. At that level, it could provide 2 soul rings at most. As for how many years it was, it depended on the soul beast. This had nothing to do with one's strength. It had something to do with the soul beast species. Wang Feng estimated that he could only rely on the little Kuan shark for the 5th or 6th soul ring. However, the little Kuan shark was not a soul beast now. Wang Feng did not know if it could provide a soul ring. If it couldn't, it would be easy to find other soul beasts. 9 months was neither a long time nor a short time. But counting the years, Wang Feng had been awake for a year now. In these 9 months, Wang Feng focused on his own cultivation and assisted the little Kuan shark in its cultivation. As the little Kuan shark did not have any elements, it did not seem to develop any special elements after it started to cultivate dark demonic qi. Dark demonic qi was a darkness-type energy. However, after cultivation, it was only a type of energy. Therefore, Wang Feng still had a plan for this little fellow's future. They were different from Long Xie and Lin Lord Bingmu. They were all million-year soul beasts. They were very experienced. Wang Feng did not need to interfere too much. In the first month, the little Kuan shark's cultivation reached 10 years. This speed was considered very slow. It was important to know that the myriad Elephant Valley's dark demonic qi was very dense. Previously, the origin energy of heaven and earth was very dense in this place. After it was occupied by the soul demons, it was filled with large amounts of dark demonic qi. The density was many times denser than outside. The little Kuan shark only reached 100,000 years after cultivating here for a month. Fortunately, its cultivation speed was very fast. As the little Kuan shark's body adapted, its cultivation speed increased rapidly. At the same time, it was different from Long Xie and Lin Lord Bingmu. Wang Feng carried out special cultivation on the little Kuan shark. The creation of soul skills of a soul-bonding beast is closely related to the cultivation of a soul-bonding master. Wang Feng muttered. Long Xie and Lin Lord Bingmu were special cases. The creation of their soul skills was not only related to their own elements. It was also related to their previous memories and abilities. For example, the crazed demon fist and the soul-devouring wave of the crazed rock dragon. These soul skills were very strong and special. An ordinary crazed rock dragon would not be able to comprehend them. A soul-bonding master was not just a simple word. It was a school of thought. One had to find out the key points. For example, the soul skills of soul-bonding beasts were very unique. A soul-bonding beast would comprehend soul skills when it was given a life contract. In fact, the creation of soul skills was not only related to the soul beast itself. It was also closely related to the cultivation of the soul-bonding master. In the first month, Wang Feng trained the little Kuan shark to comprehend a 10-year soul skill. For example, Wang Feng wanted the little Kuan shark to comprehend a speed-type soul skill. Hence, Wang Feng tried to let the little Kuan shark cultivate while undergoing various speed-type training. For example, flying while carrying a heavy load, or letting the small Kuan shark face a powerful 100-year soul beast alone and be chased away. Or he focused on cultivating the little Kuan shark's wings. He let Long Xie carry him down from a height of 1,000 meters. Or he let him consume some special herbs. At the same time, Wang Feng discovered that many natural treasures in the 4 ultimate myriad Elephant Valley were infected by the dark demonic energy. The little Kuan shark could also consume a small portion of it. This was good news. Under these various training methods, the little Kuan shark's first 10-year soul skill was indeed a speed-type soul skill. Wang Feng named it Skyrocket. Activate the dark demonic energy in the body and pour it into the wings. At the same time, reduce the weight of the body. It can soar 100 meters into the clouds. It is invisible and hard to detect. When it lands in the sky, it can use the weight of the body to suppress the enemy and inflict heavy injuries. At the same time, it can escape far away. This was a soul skill that could be used both offensively and defensively. The little Kuan shark did not understand the name of this soul skill. It did not understand the meaning behind these few words, but was very satisfied. He chose the speed-type soul skill, so that the little Kuan shark could escape in the future even if it could not defeat the enemy. After all, it was different from Long Xie. Furthermore, the little Kuan shark had a special ability to fly. This soul skill was the most suitable as its first soul skill. After his body was modified by the dark demonic energy, the little Kuan shark's muscles were very dense, but it could undergo internal changes. Once the dark demonic energy filled his body, the little Kuan shark would weaken the gravitational influence of the Earth's core. He would become lighter and his speed would increase rapidly. Skyrocket, spinning down from a high altitude, like an eagle in the sky. It was very suitable for him to fight and kill his enemies. Coupled with the little Kuan shark's huge wings, it could even intimidate the enemy. The little Kuan shark's sharp teeth were even more ferocious than a tiger's teeth. After being modified by the dark demonic energy, they were half a meter long. Normal, small-sized soul beasts would be afraid of them. Descending from a high altitude, it was very powerful. At the same time, this also confirmed Wang Feng's experiment. The soul skill of the soul-carving beast was not only related to the beast itself, but also the training of the soul-carving master. It could even change the direction of the soul-carving beast. This meant that there were many types of soul-carving beasts. For example, agility-type soul beasts could undergo strength or defense training. This would give birth to offensive or defensive soul skills. Of course, most people would not do this. Most people would train the soul-carving beast according to its own attributes. But a variety of training would make the soul-carving beast stronger. It could be mixed without being proficient, or it could be proficient without being mixed. Each had its own advantages and disadvantages. Wang Feng estimated that after 9 months, he would try his best to let the little Kuan shark reach the 1,000-year level. The 1,000-year little Kuan shark cultivated the dark demonic energy. Even if he was ordinary, he would be comparable to a 10,000-year soul beast. He would also have the ability to protect himself. Hence, Wang Feng planned to choose defensive and offensive soul skill for the 100-year and 1,000-year soul skills. As there were no attributes, Wang Feng planned to nurture the little Kuan shark as an all-rounder. For ice-type soul beasts, he could nurture them to be control-type soul beasts with attack and defense as secondary. For rock-type soul beasts like the crag dragon, he could nurture them to be defense-type soul beasts. For fire-type soul beasts, they would be offense-type soul beasts. Water-type soul beasts would be supportive. Different types of soul beasts would have different strengths and weaknesses. Unlike the Ice Empress, which was a million-year soul beast, the Ice Empress seemed to be an ice-type and darkness-type soul beast. It seemed to be control-type, but it was a hexagonal soul beast. It was not an exaggeration to say that it was a divine beast. After Wang Feng verified his experiment, the rest was much easier. He just had to nurture the little Kuan shark's offensive and defensive abilities. It was easy to nurture. For defense, in Long Xie's words, he just had to beat it up. If he beat it up too much, his body would adapt to defense, and he would be able to develop defense-type soul skills. Wang Feng felt that Long Xie's words made sense. Hence, he got Long Xie to spar with the little Kuan shark whenever he was free, or he could spar with other soul beasts. In the extreme north, with Ching Ching's help, he could easily find soul beasts to train the little Kuan shark. Regardless of whether they were offense-type or defense-type soul beasts, there were plenty of them. The training proceeded slowly. Wang Feng did not neglect his own cultivation. He was only 1 step away from rank 40. He could also absorb the dark demonic energy to cultivate. In addition to the energy left behind by the soul demons, Wang Feng's soul power quickly reached rank 40. The energy he cultivated was not the massaging energy from the dark demonic energy, nor was it the soul power of a soul master. Instead, it was a pure energy formed by the 7 purple origin patterns. It was like the origin power of the heavenly dark angel, or the origin power of the tribulation origin god king. Whether it was the evil soul beasts or the soul demons, Wang Feng could use their energy to cultivate. Furthermore, he could cultivate faster with the dark demonic energy. This was because the dark demonic energy was stronger than the pure origin energy of heaven and earth. Otherwise, Wang Feng did not know how long it would take to absorb the origin energy of heaven and earth. In that case, the dark demonic energy was a great help to Wang Feng. In particular, the energy left behind by the soul demons was very beneficial to Wang Feng. In the central region of the four extremities, the myriad elephant valley, Wang Feng sat cross-legged in the air. Torrential energy gathered from all directions into his body. On the other side, the little Kuan shark was also floating in the air. It was absorbing the benefits that came with Wang Feng's cultivation. Landlord Bing Mu stood at one side. A second special black soul ring appeared on his body. Then, it slowly entered Wang Feng's body for him to absorb. The angel of light and dark appeared behind Wang Feng. It formed an illusory figure that looked unusually bright and beautiful. The black soul ring fused into Wang Feng's body. The energy was channeled into the second purple origin pattern. At the same time, two of the dark angel of time's wings lit up. Gentle energy poured out from it. It was very comfortable. It was a pure, milky white energy. It was as warm as fire and as gentle as rain. It seemed to be able to contain and save everything. The second origin power, redemption. These two words represented the pure origin power of light. Wang Feng felt this power and was silent for a moment. It was different from the previous trials. Redemption. The second form of the chaotic green lotus was the red lotus of karmic fire. The fire of karmic fire could burn anyone with karmic power. It was similar to redemption. However, it encompassed a wider range. As one of the 7 origin divine powers of the tribulation origin God King, redemption itself could heal one's heart, restore one's soul, purify evil, and so on. It sounded a bit like a charlatan, but in fact this origin power was extremely strong. It was not inferior to the power of judgment. Wang Feng combined the power of judgment with his spiritual power and fused it into death of the chaotic 8 sounds. It could instantly kill a 9-ringed soul demon, or summon the lightning tribulation of judgment, which could kill a soul demon's body. And this origin power had an even more strange ability. Wang Feng extended his palm. Of the 7 purple origins on his body, the second one was purple with a hint of milky white. He felt the gentle energy in it. With a turn of his palm, a milky white light appeared in the center of his palm. In an instant, the dark demonic chi in the world retreated in all directions like an old book meeting a cat. Seeing this, Wang Feng couldn't help but laugh. The soul power I cultivate originates from the dark demonic chi. However, the origin power of redemption is the nemesis of the dark demonic chi. As the saying goes, when things reach an extreme, they will move in the opposite direction. Wang Feng found it interesting. This milky white energy made one involuntarily want to get close to it. With a slight feeling, one's mind would be clear and one's soul would be shaken. It made one's heart feel as if it had been healed and one's soul had been sublimated. This origin power was inclined to support. If I could awaken this origin power at that time, Kuan would be able to recover quickly. The cowardly Kuan will recover immediately. Any evil soul beast's soul will recover. Wang Feng sighed in his heart. With this origin power now, Wang Feng was not afraid of any evil soul beast or soul demon. Even if there were still soul demons at the level of Heiying, Wang Feng would have no problem protecting himself even if he couldn't defeat them. Evil soul masters, for example, would be cleansed by Wang Feng's redemption origin power. Their souls would be cleansed, and they would cry and beg for forgiveness. If I fuse the bright sound of the chaotic 8 notes with this origin power, the effect will be even better. The effect should be even stronger. With all these thoughts, Wang Feng put them into practice one by one. Perhaps it was not as powerful as when the power of judgment had just been awakened. But the origin power of redemption was like a trickle, allowing Wang Feng to slowly feel its power. 9 months later, time passed in a flash. After Wang Feng awakened the origin power of redemption, his soul power steadily increased. With the help of the energy overflowing from the soul demons, he reached rank 47. His speed was extremely fast. In the 8th month, the little Kuan shark also reached 1,000-year cultivation. At this point, this closed-door cultivation was officially completed. It was time to leave the extreme north. The 1,000-year little Kuan shark doubled in size, reaching a body length of 4 meters. To be honest, because of the lack of Kuan's bloodline power, the growth curve of his body was not like that of Kuan. A body length of 4 meters was considered very small for many thousand-year soul beasts. However, although his body was not big, he was short and vigorous. The little Kuan shark, who had just become a 1,000-year soul beast, could suppress a 10,000-year soul beast. He had learned his 100-year soul skill during the 3rd month of his training. It was a defense-type soul skill. The name was still given by Wang Feng. It was called deep-rooted. Through the special way the dark demonic energy flowed in the body, the size of the body was changed and shrunk by more than half. However, the weight increased by several times. At the same time, the body was wrapped with wings and coiled in the void like a ball. It could be immune to physical and energy-type attacks. Simply put, it increased both defense and defense. It could also be used to defend and attack, using this form to attack the enemy and cause damage to the enemy. However, it was a defense-type soul skill and could defend against certain attacks. When the 1,000-year little Kuan shark used this move, normal 10,000-year soul beasts could not cause any damage to it. Even though soul beasts with strong offensive abilities could only cause some damage to the little Kuan shark. The 1,000-year soul skill was an offense-type soul skill. The name was still given by Wang Feng. It was called Kuan Peng spreads its wings. It spread its wings and revealed its sharp fangs. It soared into the sky and revealed its sharpness. It could attack any enemy indiscriminately. Every attack would increase its offensive strength by 50%. There was no upper limit, and it depended on the little Kuan shark's strength. Skyrocketing represented a new starting point. Deep-rooted meant that the little Kuan shark would learn to advance step by step, until the Kuan Peng spreads its wings revealed its sharpness. The name of the soul skill represented the type of soul skill and the little Kuan shark's growth. It was not difficult for Wang Feng to understand these names. At least, the little Kuan shark was satisfied. Apart from that, Long Xie and Lin Lord Ice Mother's cultivations had increased by different degrees. Long Xie's cultivation was originally higher than Lin Lord Ice Mother's. Lin Lord Ice Mother's speed had reached 30,000 years. However, this was because Lin Lord Ice Mother could also absorb dark demonic energy. In addition, the 4 extremities Myriad Elephant Valley was very suitable for Lin Lord Ice Mother. Therefore, after 9 months of cultivation, the dark demonic energy in the 4 extremities Myriad Elephant Valley had decreased by more than half. Even the dark demonic energy in the extreme north had been absorbed by Wang Feng and Lin Lord Ice Mother. Of course, most of it was absorbed by Wang Feng and Lin Lord Ice Mother. This was the Douluo world, and the dark demonic energy was brought by soul demons. It was not in the dark demon world. The Douluo world did not produce dark demonic energy on its own. The more it absorbed, the less it would be. After 9 months, the dark demonic energy in the extreme north was also very weak. If he continued to cultivate, his speed would be even slower. According to the time, the tournament was about to start. Wang Feng naturally chose to leave. I can leave after bidding farewell to Qing Qing and the rest. P.S. There's one more chapter. Chapter 1237. Woo, Master, you are leaving again. We have only seen you a few times in these few months. Knowing that Wang Feng was planning to leave the extreme north, Qing Qing and the rest were naturally reluctant. There will be plenty of time in the future. Wang Feng laughed and said, a short separation is for a better reunion. In these 9 months, although Qing Qing and the rest did not disturb Wang Feng's cultivation, they came to see him a few times. According to Wang Feng's plan, after the competition and entering the Martial Spirit Palace, the next step should be to deal with the remaining Dark Demon Chiefs that appeared in Douluo world. Because he was not sure what the situation in the God Realm and Dark Demon world was, Wang Feng was not sure if there would be experts that surpassed the Dark Demon Chiefs, which is a 10-ring god-rank demon fighting expert. In fact, with the current Douluo world, after the 5 energy tides, the world would change for a few thousand years. It could withstand the appearance of experts of this level, similar to a god-rank expert that surpassed rank 100. After dealing with these dark demon chiefs, Wang Feng estimated that his soul power would reach rank 80. At that time, he could make a trip to the God realm to see them. By the time he finished reading, he had more or less comprehended the laws. Soul contract masters should also be on the right path. What would become of this world in the future was a matter for the future. However, that was Wang Feng's prediction 10 years later. It was still too early. In the future, if you can't pass the tribulation, you can try to sign a soul contract with a human. Wang Feng looked at the few soul beasts and sighed. If you have a companion and can't pass the tribulation, you can come and find me. I still have a way to deal with the heavenly tribulation. 10,000 years ago, I couldn't pass the heavenly tribulation of Qilin Lord Bingmu, but it's hard to say now. Now that Wang Feng controlled the power of judgment, he was not afraid of the heavenly tribulation. The power of judgment of the origin tribulation god king was like the lightning punishment of the god realm. It was just that Wang Feng's soul power was not high enough and could not use it. He still had a strong resistance to the heavenly tribulation of Douluo world. Then I want to be the first to become Master's soul contract beast. Qingqing said happily, Master, why don't we sign the soul contract now? Your strength is higher now. Signing a soul contract will not affect you much. When I become a titled Douluo and sign a soul contract with you, you will gain more benefits. Wang Feng touched Qingqing's head. 10,000 years had passed, and he had been the leader of the extreme north for so many years. It still looked like the little green bird from back then. He didn't know if it was intentional or not, but Wang Feng didn't care. It was naturally good that Qingqing was willing to behave like this in front of him. Hearing Wang Feng's rejection, Qingqing pouted her delicate beak and flapped her wings a few times to express her displeasure. Furthermore, the northernmost region is such a large family. Wang Feng looked around and said, You have to settle down first. Yes, I will, Qingqing replied. By the way, I forgot to tell you that the Shi Douluo has sent someone to ask about you during the past 9 months. He asked me to give this to you. Qingqing took out an ancient scroll made of special beast skin and a token. Wang Feng took the scroll and discovered that there was a special soul formation array on it. Soul formation arrays were similar to the electric circuit boards in his previous life. They were carved with special patterns and exquisite components that could conduct soul power and connect the inside to form a soul tool. This is the invitation letter for the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament's Pinnacle Group from the Martial Spirit Palace. Qingqing explained, Master, you might not know this. The entire continent is now truly the entire continent. The Shi Douluo is a peerless figure. Qingqing's tone was filled with admiration. After this person made a name for himself, he explored many of the lands of divine legacies. Not only did he expose these areas to the world, but he also revealed them to the world. He even visited the powerful individuals in these places. Today, the Martial Spirit Federation is still able to suppress the Sun-Moon Empire because of this Shi Douluo. Therefore, ever since he became the leader of the Federation would automatically invite many powerful individuals from all over the world to the Pinnacle Group. For example, the Pinnacle Soul Masters of the Sea Gods Island, the Mirage Moon Sect of the Mirage Moon Spirit Region, the Flame God Mountain, the Hidden Wind Cliff, the Angel Sacred Hall, even the iciest sect of our absolute ice forbidden land is the same. Hearing this, Wang Feng was stunned. These mysterious holy lands have always been absent, but this time the rewards are extremely generous. They have all sent people to participate. Qingqing explained to Wang Feng. Wang Feng had heard of the places that Qingqing mentioned before. There was no need to talk about the Sea Gods Island, the holy land of the Sea Gods' inheritance. Countless powerful individuals yearned for this holy land. It was the place where their ancestor, the sea god Tang San, became a god. Wang Feng had also heard of the Mirage Moon Spirit region. 10,000 years ago, 100 years before he was sealed. That was when BB Dawn was still on the continent. He set many rules for the first leader of the Federation. As a god-ranked expert, he visited many places to explore the mysteries of the continent. Later, he found a place with the inheritance of gods called the Mirage Moon Spirit region. There were two gods there, the Moon God and the Mirage God. They were second-tier gods in the god realm. Before the seven monsters left the Douluo continent, they had gathered at the five-color mountain and told Wang Feng about it. Later, Zhu Zhuqing and Hu Laina inherited the positions of these two gods. Since there was a place with the inheritance of gods, there would naturally be clansmen guarding these gods and inheriting powerful strength. Needless to say, the Flame God Mountain was the place where Fatty Ma Hongjun inherited the position of the Fire God. The clansmen called themselves the Flame God Clan. The strongest person in history was known as the Flame God Great Venerable. They were all top, exceptional Douluo in the world. Correspondingly, there is also the place where Zhu Zhuqing inherited the position of the Wind God. However, Tang San and the others did not mention the specific location because Zhu Zhuqing inherited it alone. As the elemental god, the Wind God was also a first-tier god. Now that he heard Qing Qing mention it, the Wind Cliff should be the place where Zhu Zhuqing inherited the position of the Wind God. The clansmen under the banner called themselves the Wind Hidden Clan. The strongest person guarding the Wind God was known as the Great Sage, the Sea God Great Priestess, the Flame God Great Venerable, and the Wind Hidden Great Sage. Apart from the Federation, these three powers stood at the top of this world. What surprised Wang Feng was that these god protectors had never taken a single step out of their sacred grounds. It was just like how the sea god Possessi had never stepped out of the sea god's island. He did not expect the Shi Douluo to be so powerful. He was actually able to convince these people to step out of their holy land and enter human society to participate in the pinnacle tournament of the entire continent. As for the powerful sects of the Human Federation, Master, I won't introduce them to you. You will naturally know when the time comes. However, I heard that those powerful sects have many titled Dalu above rank 97, even if they do not have exceptional Dalu. Qing Qing whispered, "However, Master, did you notice something?" "What is it?" Wang Feng asked. After he finished speaking, he looked around and vaguely felt that something was missing. Where's that scorpion?" Wang Feng was surprised. Qing Qing suddenly laughed. "Master, guess where Bing Bing went?" "If you can guess it, Bing Bing said that there will be a reward." "Oh." Wang Feng pondered for a few seconds and suddenly said, "Don't tell me, she also went to the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament?" Since Shiyu came to the extreme north, she must have discovered that the Ice Emperor had signed a life contract with a human. If that's the case, she can also formally invite the Ice Emperor and Qing Yu to the tournament, right? Because Qing Yu recultivated into a human, she is also considered a human. When he thought of this, Wang Feng could not help but look at the Shi Douluo in a different light. He did not think that she would dare to directly invite Qing Yu and the Ice Emperor to the tournament. Master, you're too smart." Qing laughed. "Yes, that's right. At first, the Ice Emperor was unwilling to go. Qing Yu also did not want to go, but would want to participate in a human tournament. However, the Shi Douluo convinced her. How did you convince the Shi Douluo?" Wang Feng sneered. What else could he have said? He just wanted the tournament. If you and Qing Yu teamed up, you might be able to compete with Wang Feng. When the time comes, the Shi Douluo was an extremely intelligent person. With her intelligence, she would definitely be able to tell that the Ice Emperor was not on good terms with him after learning of his true identity. Furthermore, before he left, he even made fun of the Ice Emperor. If the Shi Douluo mentioned his name, the Ice Emperor's expression would change. Using this as an entry point, he would be able to provoke the Ice Emperor into going. Furthermore, with the Ice Emperor and Qing Yu's combined strength, they would be able to do whatever they wanted in human society. Even if they encountered danger, it would be easy for them to escape. Where's the reward? Wang Feng asked. Bing Bing said that the reward will be given to you after you participate in the tournament. Qing Qing emphasized the last two words. Those who did not know better would think that there was something going on between them. In fact, Wang Feng guessed that this scorpion would want to beat him up when the time came. Otherwise, she would not have agreed to participate in the tournament. She wants to play big this time. Wang Feng sighed. He did not expect that these peerless powerhouses from the land of God's inheritance would be involved. These were all experts who had not appeared in the world. Master, don't underestimate Qing Yu, Qing Qing said playfully. After Qing Yu agreed to this and learned of your identity, she did not dare to be careless. She said that she did not want to lose too badly, so she found a 100,000-year soul beast and signed a soul contract with it. She is now a titled Dalu, and she used a special method to remove one of her soul rings. Oh, soul rings could be removed. When Tang San revived Xiao Wu, he removed 3 of his soul rings to create the conditions for Xiao Wu's revival. The price was a drop in rank. Without the help of natural treasures, this drop in rank was permanent. Do you know what kind of soul beast you found? Qing Qing whispered. Bing Bing told me to keep it a secret, but I still have to tell you. Qing Yu found a soul beast with ultimate fire, the green flame jade spirit bird. It is one of the strongest 100,000-year soul beasts. It is not in the extreme north, but in a forest of fire-type soul beasts. Qing Yu is a dual-type soul beast of ice and fire. She swallowed some special natural treasures and became a human again. She also has ultimate ice and ultimate fire as her soul-bound beasts. This caused her body to mutate and undergo an unbelievable transformation. Once the two fuse, a terrifying strength will be unleashed. Hearing this, Wang Feng laughed out loud. He found it interesting. A soul beast that became a human again and signed a soul contract with 2 ultimate soul beasts. After that, she entered human society and participated in the Pinnacle tournament. This was probably the first time something like this had happened. If that's the case, that's good. Wang Feng smiled. I was afraid that the Pinnacle tournament would not be enough for me. Now that you mention it, I'm interested. Qing Qing looked at Wang Feng and remained silent. When Douluo left, he said that if I told Master about this, he would be very interested. Then he will certainly find it very interesting and will participate. Qing Qing wanted to say something, but she stopped herself. The Douluo knows Master very well. He found so many powerful individuals because he was afraid that Master would feel lonely. Wang Feng laughed. It was not an exaggeration to say that this tournament's lineup was unprecedented. The people that Qing Qing mentioned were all powerful individuals who had been specially invited. The Pinnacle tournament's Pinnacle tournament did not have any restrictions. The only requirement was that one had to be a soul sage. Even evil soul masters had soul skills that could be used among soul masters. There was no need to elaborate on the generous rewards. The Pinnacle tournament, which was held every 20 years, was different from the youth tournament, which was held every 5 years. Wang Feng muttered, I don't think the Douluo organized this tournament just because of my appearance. She's not the kind of person who would speak nonsense. As he spoke, Wang Feng gently knocked Qing Qing's head. Think about it carefully. Is it really just because of me? Qing Qing tilted her head and thought for a moment. Suddenly, she said, Master, are you saying it's because of the dark demon world or those soul demons? Yes, that's the correct answer, Wang Feng said plainly. Any tournament is meant to gather these powerful individuals. Her motive for doing this was most likely to gather the top powerhouses of humanity to discuss how to deal with the invasion of the dark demon realm. That's her true goal behind the competition. Qing Qing nodded. She felt that her master was very smart. He was able to think so far ahead. She thought that the Douluo had intentionally organized the Pinnacle tournament so luxurious because he knew her master's identity. He even invited Qing Yu. After hearing so much from you, it's time for me to leave. Wang Feng sighed. Actually, you've already accomplished half of what the Douluo has done. All the powerful soul beasts in the extreme north have gathered in the extreme ice layer. It's a pity that you can't unite with the other soul beast forests. Ching had already done very well. The extreme north had been unified, and the results were fruitful. It was a pity that soul beasts were not humans. I should leave. Wang Feng suddenly looked into the distance. He seemed to have thought of something. Ching, can you soul beast transform into human forms? If it's an illusion, it's possible. Ching was stunned. She didn't know why Wang Feng would ask this question. Real humans naturally can't. However, some soul beasts can transform into human forms. Normal titled Douluo can't recognize them. They're very powerful, or they can consume some natural treasures. However, they can only transform into human forms temporarily. Hearing this, Wang Feng fell silent. He was looking at the Great Star Doe Forest. The Great Star Doe Forest, deep within the five-color Divine Mountains. The air was filled with layers of silver fog. One could vaguely see a petite woman inside. Chapter 1238. The Great Star Doe Forest had nurtured countless soul beasts, but still held the title of the #1 soul beast forest. The soul beasts inside were plentiful, and they covered a wide range of soul beasts. The kings of the soul beasts were as numerous as the stars in the sky. All 5 energy tides had something to do with the Great Star Doe Forest. Many powerful soul beasts would be born every time there was a huge war. They would either die in the war, survive in the face of death, or rule over an area. Until now, humans didn't know how many 100,000-year soul beasts there were in the Great Star Doe Forest. However, they only knew that the deeper they went, the more dangerous it was, especially the area around the Star Doe Sacred Mountain. No one knew that powerful 100,000-year soul beasts would appear from time to time. Countless soul beasts were prostrating on the ground between the layers of silver fog. If a human titled Douluo was here, they would definitely be terrified. This was because these soul beasts were all more than 100,000 years old, and there were even soul beasts around 500,000 years old. They were prostrating toward the Star Doe Sacred Mountain in the distance. They were also facing the woman who had quietly appeared from the silver fog. The soul beasts didn't dare to raise their heads. They were fearful. Regardless of their size, even if they were hundreds of feet tall, they still lay on the ground quietly. They didn't dare to make a sound. The leader was a black-clothed man. He had a majestic posture. He was more than 2 meters tall, and he had a cold expression. He was half kneeling in front of the woman, and even the heavens couldn't bend his back. However, he was bowing respectfully at this moment. He seemed to be facing the woman in front of him, but he also seemed to be facing the Star Doe Sacred Mountain in front of her. With him as the center, the soul beasts around him were of different sizes. Although they didn't fight, they tacitly surrounded him. After countless years, congratulations on recovering from your injuries, Master. You've brought glory to our race and cultivated to the God realm. The man spoke respectfully. His voice was loud and clear, but there was no response. After a moment, the man spoke again. Humans are getting stronger by the day, and they've been killing us for thousands of years. Now that Master has awakened and recovered from her injuries, these humans are nothing to be afraid of. There was still no response after he spoke. The man wasn't anxious, and his expression was still respectful. He wasn't anxious at all. Nothing to be afraid of. After a moment, a clear voice sounded from the silver fog. It was impossible to tell the gender of the voice. However, it sounded a little strange and sighing. My injuries require at least another 10,000 years of recuperation before I can wake up. However, I woke up for the first time 3,000 years ago, and after another 3,000 years, my injuries have already recovered. Dition, how do you think I recovered? Its voice was clear, and it was difficult to discern any emotions from it. However, Dition could sense a hint of self-mockery. All the soul beasts in this area were prostrating themselves, but most of them didn't recognize the existence in the illusory silver fog. What exactly was it? The reason why he knelt down. It was only because the other party's aura was too frightening. It was as if the other party possessed an innate oppressive might. Furthermore, the beast god that had been slumbering in the Great Star Doe Forest for so long had knelt down. Naturally, they had to kneel down too. The man named Dtion pondered for a moment, but he did not know how to answer. Perhaps Master has the help of the heavens. Dtion looked towards the star battle god mountain. Heaven, in this world, the heavens had already changed masters. Not to mention helping me, it was already a good thing that they didn't make things difficult for me. 10,000 years ago, if it wasn't for the fact that I held my breath and fell into a deep slumber, coupled with the fact that the 5 god kings didn't pay any attention to me, they clearly had some misgivings. I may not even have any left in this world. The clear voice slowly drifted over. It carried a hint of coldness and mockery. After a moment, the voice sighed softly. This divine mountain was built by the 5 god kings. 10,000 years ago, my consciousness was awakened, but I didn't dare to spy on it. I fell into a deep slumber, afraid that the 5 god kings would discover me. After I woke up, I was shocked to realize that the 5 god kings had personally come to this world and this forest. How could they not have discovered me? However, they didn't try to kill me. It's really strange. The reason behind this is clearly because of this divine mountain. Oh, forget it. You were still young back then and didn't know much. You didn't know what kind of existences the 5 god kings were. Dtion revealed a bitter smile. He actually knew a little. However, he was also very curious. You know it very well. The reason why my clan has been able to grow so strong over the past few thousand years is all because of the special energy that this divine mountain has seeped out. The voice was a little low. You were able to break through your limits because of this too. The reason why I was able to awaken and recover was naturally because of this too. I know that you don't really believe it. It's because this divine mountain was built by the 5 god kings back then. According to your thoughts, why would those high and mighty gods build such a divine mountain in this world and in the great Douluo forest? They couldn't have built it for my clan, right? Therefore, you think that those gods must be plotting something. It can't be for us, right? Dtion was silent. This divine mountain was built. Back then, the 5 god kings personally came to the great Douluo forest and created such a huge commotion that all the soul beasts retreated. These soul beasts that were hundreds of thousands of years old were just ants to the 5 god kings. If they wanted to kill them, they could do it with a flick of their fingers. Of course, the 5 god kings were high and mighty. How could they care about the lives of ants in the mortal world? Therefore, they didn't care about them. However, the Lord was different. Those 5 high and mighty gods must have sensed his Lord's presence. Back when his Lord was in the god realm, his Lord was injured by one of the 5 with a single move. His Lord then fled to the lower realm and hibernated in this forest to recover. Now that they had discovered her, they didn't care. Instead, they joined forces with the other 4 and built this divine mountain. Dtion didn't dare to think too much about it back then. After the 5 god kings appeared, he didn't dare to make a sound for thousands of years. After that, 5 energy tides appeared on this divine mountain. However, it was very strange. It actually made their clan grow stronger day by day. Even the Lord's injuries were healing faster. However, how could those gods do something like this? Therefore, humans were very confused about this divine mountain. The soul beasts were also very confused about this divine mountain. It was contradictory. Either that, or the sacred mountain was part of the god's scheme. King, those gods naturally can't be doing this for our clan. This Douluo divine mountain is obviously a scheme they came up with. I wonder what they are plotting. Dtion didn't know. He only knew that the current situation wasn't good for the soul beasts. There were humans internally and soul demons externally. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that there were internal and external troubles. Plotting, at this moment, a woman slowly walked out of the silver fog. She was wearing a long silver dress and a white veil over her face. Only her purple eyes, which were glittering like cold jade, could be seen. This world is nothing to the divine world. You are narrow-minded. You think that this is a scheme. She faintly said. 3,000 years ago, when I woke up, I sensed that there was a human consciousness in this divine mountain. After a few conversations, I discovered that this consciousness was actually a human. As for this divine mountain, although it was built by the 5 divine kings, it is actually filled with the power of special law. Its might is suppressed within this divine mountain. A human, Tion had a bitter expression. How could he not know that there was a human living in this divine mountain? He didn't dare to spy on him. Moreover, this human has the aura of a descendant of my clan. Even if you don't dare to spy on him, you must have sensed his aura. He was born even earlier than me. It's just that his consciousness hasn't awakened. Even so, in terms of seniority, he is still your uncle. The woman looked around. Her eyes were cold, and her long silver hair fluttered in the wind. It looked like fog from afar, but it looked like water from up close. There was an aura of transcendence in her hazy appearance. She didn't seem like a living being in the mortal world. Illusory. He is in this divine mountain. His wisdom is extremely high. Every time I talk to him, I can see a thing or two. This person is definitely not ordinary. This divine mountain and the energy overflowing from it should be related to him. In other words, even if you don't want to believe it, these soul beasts, my recovery, and you breaking the shackles are all closely related to him. Moreover, he is also closely related to my clan. You want to use the soul beast to deal with a human. However, he is a human. How can you deal with him? The woman's voice was ancient and carried a hint of vicissitudes of life. It was as if she was asking Tion, but also as if she was asking herself. Moreover, do you know where those soul demons came from? Why are they so strong? Other than him, there are also some special existences among the humans that are difficult to deal with. I'm a son of the dragon god. Back then, the dragon god was defeated. That's why the humans are slaughtering my clan to obtain soul rings to increase their strength. To put it bluntly, no matter how strong we soul beasts are, we can't change anything in the end. Because those gods are still around, they can never change. My clan will still be like this. The key to solving this problem is not to deal with the humans. At this point, the woman looked at the divine mountain and said indifferently, the key lies in the human inside this divine mountain. Master, you mean? Tion hesitated. Follow me to the human world. The woman turned her head again and looked into the distance. A year ago, I sensed that the humans inside the divine mountain had left. They should have gone to human society. Find him and figure out everything. Seek a chance of survival for my clan. If it doesn't work, we will talk about other things. Tion stood in front of the woman and glanced at the soul beasts behind him. However, only some special soul beasts can take human form. Moreover, they are very easy to detect. Once we are in danger. Danger? A cool breeze blew past and blew a corner of the woman's white veil, revealing a hint of coldness. Some human experts are difficult to deal with. However, they want to put my silver dragon in danger. What you have to worry about is that some terrifying monsters will be born behind these soul demons. That is the most troublesome. Wang Feng didn't feel anything. His main body and avatar could sense each other. It was just that his main body was deep in the mountains, and his soul was in his avatar. He couldn't sense the specific situation in the great Stardow forest. The only thing he could sense was the situation of his main body comprehending the laws. Wang Feng asked about Qing Qing's transformation because he was worried. In such a special situation, Xiyu had caused a big commotion. In addition, there were soul demons. Would there be changes in the great Stardow forest? Especially the silver dragon who had communicated with him before. Wang Feng knew about the background of the God Realm. The Origin Tribulation God King was very important. The 5 God Kings must have told him something about the God Realm. Therefore, in such a situation, Yi Zichen had no choice. Wang Feng was worried that the silver dragon might transform into a human and run out to cause trouble. It wasn't impossible for soul beasts with extremely high cultivations to transform into humans. As for the Silver Dragon King, his cultivation was not simple at all. In particular, she was a descendant of the Dragon God. The Dragon God was the ancestor of countless soul beasts, and the Silver Dragon was one of the Dragon God's avatars after it dissipated. These soul beasts had a natural submission to her. If they came out to cause trouble together, it would be even more troublesome. Wang Feng thought about it and felt that the Silver Dragon was unlikely to do so. Now that the soul demons were wreaking havoc, if the other party was smart, she would target the soul demons instead of humans. Because in terms of threat, the soul demons were far greater than humans. However, Wang Feng just thought about it. He felt that it was unlikely. After saying goodbye to Qing Qing, Wang Feng left the extreme north and returned to Ice Crystal City for a day. He found that this competition had great implications. Even Ice Crystal City, a border city, was in an uproar. Don't underestimate this border city. As a city guarding the northern border, a large number of troops were stationed there, and there were even titled law overseeing it, to prevent the soul beasts from causing trouble. At the same time, there was also an academy. However, Ice Crystal City's academy was a military academy. The talents inside were mainly trained to be soldiers who could fight well. The requirements were naturally different from soul masters. Simply put, you didn't need to be very talented. As long as you could endure hardships and listen to orders, you would be able to be nurtured into an expert in the army. For example, the Continental Elite Soul Master Competition was the grandest competition in the entire continent. After countless years of changes, it had not disappeared. Instead, it had become even more prosperous, especially all of this. As a world where the youth division and the peak division coexisted, the confrontation between the young experts and the veteran experts was the focus of the entire continent. In addition to the great threat of the evil soul beasts, it was not an exaggeration to say that this competition was the grandest in the past 100 years. The youth division was different from the peak division. There were many restrictions in the youth division, and not everyone could participate. At the same time, there were different regions. For example, Ice Crystal City had been turned into a border region. There were more than 10 young soul masters from Ice Crystal City and more than 10 other cities. The youth division was divided into regional competitions for each region. The seeded teams would be selected for the regional competitions, and they would enter the Martial Soul Palace for the finals. The regional competitions were divided into point competitions, group competitions, and regional finals. Wang Feng remembered this very clearly. It was slightly different from 10,000 years ago, but the general rules remained the same. However, the peak division didn't have so many similar divisions. This was because the peak division only had individual competitions, and there were no team competitions. The youth division was mainly about teams. Apart from the individual competitions, there would be other special competitions according to the special circumstances of each competition. After all, it was only held once every 20 years. For example, in the few hundred years after the Sun-Moon continent and the Douluo continent clashed, there were endless wars between the continents. Apart from the individual competitions, the peak division also had to kill soul engineers above rank 70 from the Sun-Moon Empire. Of course, that was when the Martial Soul Federation and the Sun-Moon Empire clashed most intensely. Hence, the competition was very extreme. In the individual competitions, there were no point competitions, group competitions, or regional finals. The youth division and the peak division were very different. There were only victories and defeats. Losing a round meant losing. End of chapter. Chapter 1239. Furthermore, there was only one champion in the Pinnacle group. There was also no third place. There was only one title for the strongest person on the continent. There was no need for that title. However, there were rewards. The top 10 in the Pinnacle group would all receive rewards. Most of the rewards were 100,000-year soul bones, natural treasures, and miraculous medicines that were extremely helpful to high-tier soul beasts. This was because the individual competition was extremely unique. This meant that the contestants had to give their all in every round. Hence, every round was extremely difficult. There was only one place for the competition, Martial Spirit City in the Federation District. One could participate as long as they registered. The requirement for registration were very simple. As long as one passed the test and reached rank 70, one would be qualified to participate. The registration period was 1 month. Wang Feng pondered for a moment. With the Federation's current strength, there were quite a few soul masters above rank 70. After 10,000 years of development, the Martial Spirit Federation, which had merged two empires and unified the continent, would definitely have more high-tier soul masters than 10,000 years ago. However, due to the effects of several soul beast wars, the number of high-tier soul masters had decreased sharply. This was especially so during the war with the Sun-Moon Empire. As a result, the number of high-tier soul masters now was not as exaggerated as 10,000 years ago. However, there should be at least 100,000. In reality, it would be good if a tenth of these 100,000 people dared to participate. Most of them were just here to go through the motions. In comparison, there were more people who were interested. This was because many high-tier soul masters knew that if one wanted to enter the top 10 in the pinnacle group, one could forget about it unless one was a titled Dalu. Most of the people who participated were here to accumulate experience, get a good ranking, and show off to the entire continent the sects and academies behind them. After all, for such a grand tournament, the majority of academies and sects would send out their most powerful soul masters to participate in the tournament. They hoped to get a good ranking and make a name for themselves in the eyes of countless people. It was a way to nurture their own sects and students. Wang Feng stayed in Ice Crystal City for a day. After asking around for some information, he went to Martial Spirit City. After hesitating for a moment, Wang Feng decided not to go to Shrek City. After half a year, Wang Feng wasn't sure how Hui Yuhao and Wang Dong were doing. Also, he didn't know if Zheng Yang and the others had brought the Ice Fox back to Ma Xiaodao. They set off from Ice Crystal City and headed south. Along the way, Wang Feng was still thinking about the experts in the land of God's legacy. As for the sects in the Federation, Wang Feng was able to find out some information about them. However, apart from the Sea God's Pavilion, Wang Feng knew nothing about these places of inheritance. He was naturally curious. Xiao Shan, why did you stop at the front? Wang Feng flew through the air, either riding Long Xia or a small Kuan shark. In order to train the little Kuan shark, Wang Feng spent most of his time riding on the little Kuan shark's back. After the little Kuan shark reached the age of 1,000 years, its body shape was special. Furthermore, it was modified by the dark demonic qi, so its body was usually only 4 meters long. However, if he wanted to avoid attracting attention, he could use his 100-year soul skill, Deep Roots, to change his form. His entire body would turn into a round ball. It was only about 1 meter long and looked more like a pet. It was soft and cute in his arms. If he flew in the air, he would return to his original form and fly several hundred meters into the air. Initially, he was swaying while carrying Wang Feng, and his center of gravity was unstable. He only managed to get used to it after flying for about an hour. Boss, it seems like there's a storm in front. According to the map you gave me, the Raging Dragon River seems to have burst its banks. There's a storm and a flood. The city below seems to be in trouble. The little Kuan shark spoke in human language and sensed something. Wang Feng's training for the little Kuan shark was all round. Furthermore, the dark demonic qi's training for the little Kuan shark was very special. Whether it was his spiritual power or his body, his senses were very strong, even though he no longer had the bloodline of a Kuan or a shark. Oh, Wang Feng sensed with his spiritual power and looked ahead. Indeed, he realized that there was a flood in front of him. The Raging Dragon River was a famous river in the Federation. It connected the north and south, and the south was connected to the sea. It was formed during the Great Soul Beast War in the 4th level. The 4th Great Soul Beast War was a war between land soul beasts and sea soul beasts. It also involved humans. The Raging Dragon River was formed by a sea dragon-type soul beast in the past. In order to lead the sea soul beast to attack humans and the Great Star Doe Forest to obtain the geographical location of the Star Battle Sacred Mountain, it used the strength of many sea soul beasts to charge into the land. It sacrificed the life of the sea soul beast to create a large sea river so that the sea soul beast could enter the land. That dragon-type soul beast had a cultivation of more than 300,000 years. It was a tyrant in the sea. It did this for the Star Battle Sacred Mountain. The 4th Great Soul Beast War originated from the 4th Energy Tide. After the 4th Energy Tide, the energy that overflowed from the Star Battle Sacred Mountain started to drift from the continent to the sea. This caused the sea soul beasts in the sea to become violent. In order to fight for the star battle, Sacred Mountain, they didn't hesitate to kill their way from the sea to the land. This matter was something that even the sea god's island couldn't control. Of course, that was another story. There are several heavy cities along the raging dragon river, Wang Feng muttered. This river was very significant. That sea dragon was also very brave. It brought its subordinates and swam out from the sea. It expended a lot of effort to create this river that almost connected the north and south of the continent. At that time, many cities around the continent suffered because of it. This was also the beginning of the Fourth Great Soul Beast War. Countless sea soul beasts used this river as a strategic location. In the early stages, the humans couldn't retaliate. Even the soul beasts on the land couldn't do anything about this river. Later on, Qing and the others from the extreme north joined forces with the soul beasts and drove the soul beasts from this river back to the sea. After that, the sea god's island acted again and sealed the southern exit of the raging dragon river. Only then did the war stop. This raging dragon river, which was once stained with blood, was remodeled and built by the Federation. It connected the north and south, allowing the three political regions to be closer together. After the sea route was connected, the three political regions traded more frequently. The cities along the route were nourished by the river and developed into fertile land. The crops that were planted there contained pure origin energy of heaven and earth and were widely loved by the citizens of the Federation. It nurtured many people. After 10,000 years of development, the current population of the Federation was much more than 10,000 years ago. With an increase in population, there was a need for land, food production, resources, and so on. This raging dragon river was considered the greatest wealth that the Federation obtained after the Fourth Great Soul Beast War. It was unknown how many dangerous mountain terrains and dangerous swamps they had to cross. With the means of a soul master, it would take a lot of effort to clear such a huge river. But it was neglected by the sea soul beasts. A few 100,000-year soul beasts died to clear half of the river. Later on, the Federation continued to send soul masters to clear the river. It took a few years and a lot of money and manpower. But no soul master died. It was very fortunate. The raging dragon river created a lot of water and soil, but the Federation also built a few dams to prevent the water level in the river from rising during the rainy season and flooding the surrounding cities. Wang Feng frowned slightly. When he extended his mind power, he heard a lot of shouts. He couldn't help but be shocked. Let's go and take a look. Wang Feng looked at the area in front of him that was covered by dark clouds. Natural disasters and man-made disasters. Even soul masters couldn't resist the power of nature. Little Kuan Shark nodded. He didn't care about the flood at all. It was just that his boss was a human, so he mentioned it. Little Kuan Shark flew over with Wang Feng. Not long after, they saw the scene in front of them. This was a city along the raging dragon river. The dams in front had already rotted. It wasn't that the construction wasn't strong enough, but there were evil beasts causing trouble. Wang Feng stared at the raging dragon river below. The water was murky and had a faint gray color. The further upstream, the darker it got. And this city was in a terrible state. This city was built around the raging dragon river. There were many broken sailboats on the river surface. Under the torrential rain, coupled with the fact that there were evil beasts in the river from time to time, the buildings in the city instantly collapsed under the torrential waves that were over 100 meters tall. Soul masters below rank 80 couldn't resist such monstrous power. Those below rank 60 would be severely injured. The densely packed people in the river were like ants. They were scattered all over the place, and it was a horrifying sight. All the crops within a radius of several dozen miles had been submerged by the flood. Furthermore, after a slight overturn, the top-quality fertile soil had turned black and emitted a dense black gas. There are soul demons in the river. Wang Feng already knew it without thinking. The dams built by the Federation were for flood control. There must be many considerations. It wouldn't be destroyed so easily. Even if the dams were destroyed, there must be a backup plan for the city. It wouldn't end up in such a situation. This natural disaster couldn't be resisted by ordinary people, but Soul Masters still had a way to resist it. Therefore, this flood must be caused by the soul demons. Seeing this, Wang Feng's eyes turned cold. The raging dragon river was connected to the sea, and there were powerful sea soul beasts in the sea. After the war, the Sea Gods Island and the Federation reached an agreement to seal the entrances of the north and south banks. The demonic sea beasts were prohibited from entering the inland through the raging dragon river to prevent accidents. Therefore, there were very few soul beasts in the raging dragon river. Even if there were some low-level sea soul beasts that were at most 10,000 years old. However, there were soul demons in the river now, as well as some evil soul beasts swimming in it. Wang Feng thought for a moment and knew that the seals on the north and south banks might have been broken by the sea soul beasts. The sea was so vast, and there were many eggs of evil soul beasts hidden in the soul beast forest on the continent. There would only be more in the sea. Although those seals were powerful, it wouldn't be difficult to break them if the soul demons took action. Once the seals were broken, a bunch of infected sea soul beasts would be brought into the raging dragon river. Then the situation would be even worse, the increase of soul demons. In addition to the continent, the more dangerous place is the sea. Shiyu organized such a competition. I'm afraid she wants to unify these peak forces and immediately clear these soul demons to fight against the dark demon world. Otherwise, in the long run, the Douluo world won't be able to hold on for long. Wang Feng didn't know how many cities the current situation would happen in. There was the raging dragon river in this place, and there were other rivers, volcanoes, and peaks in other places. Who knew where a soul demon would emerge? Although He Ying knew the approximate location of the other dark demon chiefs, there were many soul demons, and they were all born from the eggs of evil soul beasts. Some had not even been born yet, and some had just been born. The distance between soul demons was limited. It was impossible for Wang Feng to predict. It was the approximate location of the dark demon chief in He Ying's memory soul. It was the approximate location that they calculated after communicating with each other in the dark demon world, so that they could find the other party after being born from the eggs of the evil soul beasts. In fact, whether it would be born in the location they calculated was unknown. Shiyu understood the current situation very well. The matter of the soul demons and the dark demon world must not be mentioned. Once it was mentioned, it would easily cause chaos. The best way was to gather the top experts of the continent to deal with this. The Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament was the best way to do that. A thought flashed through his mind in a split second. At this moment, a loud rumble suddenly sounded in front. Wang Feng glanced and saw a huge wave hundreds of meters long, as if connecting heaven and earth, coming from the raging dragon river in the distance. There were many pitch-black soul beasts swimming in the huge waves. It was a frightening sight. The soul masters who were still rescuing people in the sky above the city were all shocked. It was as if they had been immobilized and they could not move. Wang Feng even saw a few familiar figures. Zhang Lishuan, why is she here? Wang Feng looked around. Although he did not go to Shrek City, he still saw a few Shrek Academy disciples. Leading them was Zhang Lishuan. However, it was obvious that even a titled Dalu would be helpless against such an attack, let alone Zhang Lishuan. However, Zhang Lishuan was very ordinary. There was a man and a woman in green, and they looked very extraordinary. Wang Feng pondered for a second. He did not hesitate, and decided to release Lin Lord Bing Mu and Long Xie to deal with the problem in front of him. However, at this moment, the man and woman beside Zhang Lishuan leaped up lightly, unleashing a terrifying aura as they rose into the air from the surface of the water. These two men and woman looked extraordinary. He could not tell their ages, but they should be quite old. Right now, 9 soul rings rose from their bodies, and their immense auras spread, forming an invisible wall of wind. This is... Wang Feng paused and was a little shocked as he looked at the two of them. He was not the only one. Many humans who were still alive on the water also looked up at these two titled Dalu. In fact, a rank 91 titled Dalu had just perished in this city. He was trying to resist this terrifying flood. However, The tidal Douluo died on the spot when this huge wave came crashing down. All that was left was a pile of bones. Many soul masters could clearly see that there were powerful evil soul beasts causing trouble in the huge wave. However, at this moment, the two of them rose into the sky, and there seemed to be an invisible force in heaven and earth. It was vast and mighty and majestic. After this, martial souls appeared behind the two of them at the same time. The man's martial soul was a tornado, and the woman's martial soul was also a tornado. However, it was purplish-green and was more special. These two martial souls were not found in the Federation. Furthermore, their martial souls were very different. However, Wang Feng could sense the special strength contained in their martial souls and their soul power undulations. Rank 98. There was slight surprise in Wang Feng's eyes. Their martial souls contain some divine power. These two should be powerful individuals from the land of God's inheritance. They should be from the Wind Cliff of Hidden Wind. P.S. Today's two updates are 8,000 words in total. End of chapter. Chapter 1240. Both of their martial souls contained immense power. 18 soul rings slowly flew out from their bodies, and their figures disappeared in an instant. They transformed into their martial soul true bodies. The 100-meter-long tornado formed a purplish-green color as it spun in the sky, causing huge waves to surge. Wang Feng could see that the 18 soul rings had fused into one in an instant, forming a purplish-green special soul ring. It was a martial soul fusion skill. Wang Feng could feel the terrifying power of this martial soul fusion skill from 1,000 meters away. It was evident from this. Once the tornado was formed, the flood in the raging dragon river was like a ferocious beast that had been imprisoned. The originally surging waves actually calmed down in an instant. Under the majestic power, the purplish-green tornado seemed to have changed the sky, causing the world to lose its color. It swept towards the 100-meter-tall wave in front of it. The momentum was so great that it shocked everyone. But in fact, when the 100-meter-tall wave came into contact with it, it was dissolved in the blink of an eye. It made one's eyes widen in shock. Many evil soul beasts hiding in the flood were annihilated and turned into endless black energy. Wang Feng couldn't help but applaud when he saw this. These two were titled Douluo from the land of God's inheritance. They were so strong that they were at the top of the world. Xianzi wasn't inferior to Mu In from the Shrek Academy. Although the God realm has lost contact with the Douluo continent, these inheritances haven't disappeared. Wang Feng sighed. The inheritance of a god was of great importance. These hidden powers were like the hidden aristocratic families in his previous life. Even if the world was in chaos and war and dynasties changed, they would still be able to remain independent and not be disturbed by external matters, preserving their inheritance. In fact, there weren't many sects that could do this in the past 10,000 years. They still relied on the Martial Soul Federation's unique system. In fact, the Martial Soul Federation had experienced several internal conflicts in the past 10,000 years. Some lasted for 100 years, and they almost collapsed. But Wang Feng didn't know what BB Don had left behind. Even after ascending to the God realm, the Martial Soul Federation was still able to survive until today. It was rare for these gods' inheritance to still produce powerful experts after losing contact with the God realm. Such a mighty attack was destroyed by the combined efforts of the two of them, which could be considered as protecting the safety of this area. After that, Wang Feng's eyes lit up when he saw the two attacks. As the successor of a god, it was only natural that things would not be that simple. The wind was formless and coexisted between heaven and earth. To them, as long as they were in the clouds, their battle prowess was top-notch. The purple-green tornado seemed to be able to extinguish the flood with a snap of its fingers, but the two of them could tell that the flood was caused by the evil soul beasts in the raging dragon river. The tornado was only able to extinguish the flood, but not the root of the problem. The evil soul beasts in the river had to be exterminated in order to solve the problem completely. Otherwise, the cities along the furious Dragon River would still be devastated. The purplish-green tornado flickered with light as the special soul ring fused with it. It seemed to possess immense strength. In an instant, the tornado spun madly at a speed several times faster than before. Under the continuous, torrential rain, all the rainwater was sucked in. The waves of the furious Dragon River were also quickly sucked into the tornado. The wind borrowed the momentum of the water, and in just a few breaths, more than half of the waves in the furious Dragon River were sucked away. The river channels were faintly discernible, and after losing half of the river water, many evil soul beasts were revealed. "Great!" Wang Feng exclaimed again. These two people were also monstrous. They actually directly sucked away more than half of the furious Dragon River. Such power was not something that ordinary tidal Dalu could do. One had to know that the evil soul beasts in the furious Dragon River were all infected by the aquatic soul beasts. But no matter how they were infected, they were still aquatic soul beasts. Without the river water, it was like a chef losing his kitchen knife, a housewife losing her rice, or a swordsman losing his sword. No matter how strong they were, they could not fully unleash their strength. They also lost their foundation to stir up trouble. Even the soul demon revealed itself. It was an aqua-blue soul demon, different from the red one that they saw before. It still had the body of a human, but it was extremely tall, at least 3 to 4 meters. With claws and wings on its back, it looked ferocious and terrifying. However, there was a sneer in its eyes. The torrential flood in the furious Dragon River should be caused by this soul demon. His attack was broken, and he lost the river water to rely on. Wang Feng knew that this was a real, fatal blow. Especially when he saw the sneer on the soul demon's face, Wang Fengxian's heart skipped a beat. He thought of the scene nearby. When the river water flowed into the fertile soil, it immediately infected the soil and turned it pitch black. After losing its fertility, it became a dead land. The river water must have been infected by the dark demon Qi. It was not so easy to deal with. Thinking of this, Wang Feng released his soul rings. First, he summoned the Lin Lord of Ice Empress. Then, he held the Judgment Origin in his hand and pressed his palm against the sky. As he shouted, the sky lights and clouds were all activated. Streaks of purple divine lightning struck the soul demon below. The two people transformed into their martial soul true bodies and used the tornadoes to break the attack. They also absorbed the river water, causing the evil soul beast below to lose their roots. However, the soul demon was not afraid. As long as they turned into tornadoes and absorbed the river water, they would be easily infected by the dark demon Qi. When the time came, they would still be at a disadvantage. Wang Feng saw the situation clearly. He knew that this was the most crucial moment to kill the soul demon. Therefore, he did not hesitate to attack. He could not just stand by and watch. Otherwise, it would be very troublesome. The divine thunderbolt struck the soul demon at the bottom of the river. With Wang Feng's current cultivation of over rank 40, the judgment lightning punishment was extremely powerful. It was not something a 9-ringed soul demon could resist. Even the dark demon elder would be at a disadvantage. In the blink of an eye, the soul demon's body disintegrated. Even the evil soul beasts around it were annihilated. Ice Qilin, the soul demon's soul, is not here. It should still be hiding in the raging Dragon River. Cast the world of ice and snow and freeze the surface of the raging Dragon River in this area to prevent it from escaping. Wang Feng said sternly. After he finished speaking, he said to Long Xia, Ice Qilin's world of ice and snow won't last for long. Long Xia, go and get a mountain nearby so that we can rebuild it. Otherwise, Ice Qilin will be under too much pressure. Lin Lord Ice Qilin nodded slightly. The crown on his head lit up slightly. His eyes flashed, and he spat out an icy light. Black runes flickered on his body, causing the temperature of heaven and earth to plummet. Even the rainstorm turned into endless snowflakes. When the icy light landed on the river's surface, it instantly froze the surface of the river into a mirror like ice. It was like a frozen river. Countless evil soul beasts didn't even have time to move before they were frozen by the vast power of absolute ice. The little Kuan shark was watching from aside. It looked at Lin Lord Ice Emu with admiration. He was a role model. Longxia also flew away quickly. With his current body, it was not a problem for him to control a small mountain. As a 1,000-year soul skill, World of Ice and Snow was very powerful once Lin Lord Ice Chilin used it. Even a city could be easily frozen and turned into a real world of ice and snow. The raging dragon river that stretched for dozens of miles across the city was completely frozen. In a chapter. Chapter 1241. This commotion was even more frightening than before. Many people were astonished. They looked up, thinking that another powerful tidal Douluo had made a move. However, they didn't expect to see a soul beast in midair. Zhang Lishuan saw Wang Feng the moment he made his move. She had been ordered by the academy to fetch the great sage from the wind-hidden cliff so that they could participate in this year's tournament. She didn't expect to encounter such a calamity when she was passing by. The two seniors from the wind-hidden cliff naturally wouldn't just stand by and watch. Great sage. The word sage was not something that was easily bestowed. The wind-hidden cliff had been passed down for a long time. It was the place where the gods had passed down their legacies. They claimed that they inherited the will of heaven and earth, and that they weren't afraid of death or decay. However, they were also humans and naturally wouldn't be afraid of evil soul beasts. This was why they made a move to prevent evil from happening again. Wang Feng, Zhang Lishuan muttered softly. She had a beautiful face and a graceful figure as she stood in the wind. The full moon behind her made her look like a fairy on the moon. I didn't expect you to finally return after a year. Zhang Lishuan looked up at the figure in midair. She saw a ball of void divine light in his palm. He looked like a god descending from the heavens. His aura was majestic, and he didn't seem like a mortal. She looked at the purple lightning descending from the sky and fell into deep thought. His abilities were becoming more and more unfathomable. Zhang Lishuan sighed in her heart as she recalled the battle in the Academy's soul dueling arena. Even with his soul power rank, his speed had increased tremendously. It had only been a year and a half, but he had gone from level 10 to level 40. It was simply shocking. Zhang Lishuan controlled her full moon and flew up. The smile on her face was as bright as the moon. So it was you. I was wondering who else could do this. Wang Feng, it hasn't even been a year. I didn't expect you to be so powerful. Her tone was a little surprised, a little disappointed, and a little happy. Wang Feng smiled and looked at the girl in front of him. He felt that her aura was reserved, and her full moon was clear. Her soul rings were dazzling. She must have solved her problem with her soul rings. Even his soul power rank had increased by 5 ranks. It was likely that he had obtained some good fortune. It was important to note that Zhang Lishuan had been a rank 72 soul sage, and she had given birth 5 times in a year. She wasn't even 24 years old yet. He would definitely step into the realm of soul Douluo at the age of 25. He had both talent and luck. He was indeed a leading figure in the Shrek Academy. You found the demon-transforming beast? Wang Feng asked with a smile. Thanks to you, I went to the Great Star Do Forest 4 months ago and found it. Zhang Lishuan nodded slightly. According to your instructions, I have signed a life contract with this demon-transforming beast. My abilities have increased slightly, and the problem of my soul ring has been resolved. Congratulations. Wang Feng glanced ahead. Those two are from Hidden Wind Cliff, right? Let's go and take a look first. The two of them have used their martial soul, true bodies, and soul fusion skills to unleash such powerful attacks. But the river water they've absorbed is very troublesome. What trouble? Zhang Lishuan asked. Wang Feng then told them about the dark devil chi. Zhang Lishuan's expression changed slightly, and she immediately flew over with Wang Feng. At this moment, the two of them had already stopped using their martial soul fusion skills and were standing on opposite sides. However, the situation wasn't like what Wang Feng had described. They were just a little pale. The man was called Feng Qin, and the woman was called Feng Jiao. They were both great sages of Hidden Wind Cliff, and were both titled Douluo above rank 98. They were both very strong. After a brief introduction, Wang Feng realized that the two of them were very old. They were at least 100 years old, but they looked like they were in their 30s. Although the river water contained special energy, our martial souls were tornadoes. They were martial souls bestowed by the wind god. They were born with the ability to cleanse and remove any energy from tornadoes. That's why we immediately used our soul skills to remove that energy after we absorbed the river water. It didn't affect us much. Feng Qin explained. Wang Feng was enlightened. These powerful individuals from the land of inheritance were indeed extraordinary. On the other hand, when you attacked just now, your divine lightning was vast and mighty. It's hard to imagine that this is the power of a soul master. Feng Qin sized up Wang Feng. His expression was calm, but his eyes were flickering. Those who didn't know would think that a true god had descended. Wang Feng smiled and said, "If I say that I'm a true god, would you believe me?" "I don't." Feng Qin laughed. "Even a true god isn't as handsome as you." "Feng Jia, what do you think?" Feng Go was a woman with a graceful figure. She looked like a woman in her 30s, but she wore a special robe. The robe was branded with cyan, profound runes, and the back of the robe had the image of a soul beast. There was also the image of a tornado between her eyebrows. There didn't seem to be anything special about her. The two of them were brother and sister, and they were also partners. They were born with special tornadoes, and they were recognized as the inheritors of Hidden Wind Cliff's great sages. After 100 years, they finally had their current achievements. From what I see, you look quite similar to a man whom the human woman who inherited the wind god was infatuated with on the Hidden Wind Cliff. Feng Ming smiled. "Oh, senior, who was the girl who inherited the wind god last time?" Zhang Lishuan immediately asked curiously. "You humans don't know about Hidden Wind Cliff. You only know about the story of the sea god Tang San and the story of the white-robed Popetiff Wang Feng. However, what they didn't know was that in the 100 years after their story had settled down, there was a human female genius who came to my Hidden Wind Cliff and went through countless hardships to obtain the recognition of my wind god. She inherited the wind god's position and became a legendary powerhouse." Feng Qin added with a smile. He had an elegant figure and a jade-like face. He was quite handsome, but his hair was green and his temperament was calm. He looked more like an uncle. Wang Fengxin said, "How could he not know who it was?" It was definitely Zhu Zhuqing. However, the continent had already settled down. Zhu Zhuqing entered Hidden Wind Cliff alone and obtained the wind god's inheritance. She must have had a different encounter. She must have been tempered. Then, she inherited the wind god's divine position. However, it was impossible for most people to know about this. The wind god wasn't as famous as the sea god. Everyone knew about the sea god's island, but they didn't know about Hidden Wind Cliff. Everyone knew that the Shrek's 7 monsters had all become god-ranked experts. However, other than the sea god Tang San, no one else was famous. Even the sea god Tang San only came to Sea God's Island later and appeared in front of everyone. Everyone only knew that Tang San's ancestor had become a sea god. "Who is that girl?" Zhang Lishuan asked. Feng Qin and Feng Ming smiled, but didn't say anything. They only looked around and said, "Let's deal with this situation first." "Oh right, is that your soul-bonded beast?" "On our way here, I heard this girl say that you were the one who created the soul-bonded beast. I believe that such a powerful soul-bonded beast must belong to you, right?" As he spoke, Feng Qin looked at the frozen, furious dragon river and couldn't help but exclaim, to be able to freeze tens of miles of river with one breath. This power should be above the ultimate power of absolute ice. I didn't expect to see such a peerless soul beast here. The two of them had ancient inheritances and vast knowledge. They were much stronger than Muon. Although they didn't recognize Qilin Lord being Mu, they knew about the power of absolute ice. I didn't expect the two of you to know about the soul-bonded beast. End of chapter. Chapter 1242. Wang Feng was a little surprised as he looked at Zhang Lishuan. It had been a long time since his lecture at the academy. Wang Feng didn't notice any obvious changes along the way. Hence, he didn't think that he could make the entire continent accept soul contractors. Feng Go glanced at Zhang Lishuan and suddenly said, "This is all thanks to Miss Zhang. She kept introducing us to soul contractors along the way." Zhang Lishuan's face turned red when she heard that. She hurriedly explained, "Elder Feng, I didn't keep introducing it. It's just that you asked about the demon-transforming beast beside me. That's why I mentioned it." "Ha ha ha. A few sentences?" Feng Go chuckled. "Elder, my ears are getting tired of hearing you talk about how good soul contractors are. If you didn't have a Shrek Academy's token, I would have suspected that you were brainwashed by some evil cult." Zhang Lishuan's face was red, but she still smiled and said, "Our academy is very popular with soul contractors now. Many soul masters have already become soul contractors. Apart from the high-tier soul contractors, there are a few other academies that are trying to copy them. I think that this competition will make the name of soul contractors known throughout the continent." Zhang Lishuan glanced at Wang Feng as if to say that the academy didn't let him down. Wang Feng smiled. Following this, the group quickly landed upstream and supported the frozen raging dragon river. The three of them worked together and planned to temporarily rebuild the broken dam. They also sent a letter to the Federation headquarters to send the Federation's engineering division to repair it. This dam was thousands of meters long and wide. The raging dragon river was 7,000 to 8,000 meters wide. It wasn't easy to build a dam there. Coupled with the strong currents, it was very difficult to build a dam. Otherwise, the raging dragon river wouldn't have been such a huge threat to humans. One or two people wouldn't be able to do it. They would need a huge team with all kinds of support to repair it. This raging dragon river is so vast. It's really extraordinary. During the Great War of the Soul Beasts, my hidden wind cliff didn't show up. We're ashamed." Feng Qin sighed and said, "Now, there are evil soul beasts wreaking havoc, and the outside world is invading us. If we hide in a corner, I'm afraid that the world will cease to exist. The Douluo is right." Feng Go also said in a low voice, "As great sage Feng Yinya, we claim to be virtuous, but we have no virtuous deeds. We are truly ashamed." When Wang Feng heard this, he didn't expect the Douluo to personally persuade him. However, she was truly a formidable person. The Cliff of Hidden Wind was so mysterious. Even if she knew the name, she might not know the location. Apart from us, I've also sensed that the people from the other god's land of inheritance should have all come out. Presumably, they were all invited as well. Perhaps we can even find a suitable successor during this trip and obtain the position of successor. It can be considered as fulfilling the clan's wish. Feng Qin looked at the frozen river and slowly said, "The dam here is broken and extends for thousands of meters. Although it is temporarily frozen, it is not a long-term solution. With the help of the Black Wind, the two of us can move a tall mountain to temporarily block the gap. However, it will be very troublesome to repair it later." The two of them were powerful, but in the face of the current situation, they were somewhat at a loss. Zhang Lishuan pondered for a moment and suddenly thought of Wang Feng's other soul-bonded beast. It seemed to be a rock dragon. Controlling the power of the earth and rocks might be able to help. She couldn't help but look at Wang Feng. However, she could only see Wang Feng's calm expression. His eyes were calm, as if he was waiting for something. After a short while, Zhang Lishuan saw a huge rock dragon in the distance. There were several mountains on its back, and it was huffing and puffing as it flew over. Wang Feng abruptly flew out, his soul rings faintly discernible. He whispered, "Landslide." Long Xia nodded and roared furiously. His body shook, and the mountains were flung away. Compared to the raging dragon river, these few, small mountains that were only a few dozen meters tall were nothing. The depth of the raging dragon river was at least 50 meters. The taller ones were even more than 100 meters. If a mountain fell, it would sink. Landslide was Long Xia's 10,000 years soul skill. This was an extremely powerful soul skill that combined both control and attack. Furthermore, It was an attack that covered an extremely large area. When used here, the effect was naturally to cause the broken dam of the Raging Dragon River to break apart, and a long river was formed in the middle. Even the area that was frozen quickly cracked open. This area of the Raging Dragon River seemed to have an angry dragon twisting the wind and clouds at the bottom. The moment the crack opened, the mountains changed shape under Long Xie's control and embedded themselves into the broken dam. They were embedded into the frozen area. All right, Wang Feng nodded slightly and turned to look at the three of them. This is a trick, using the mountains to fill in the gap. Although my soul-bonded master can control mountains and move earth, the materials of these mountains are ordinary. They can only be used to fill in the gap for a while. In the future, we'll have to add new materials and refine them. Feng Qin and Feng Jiu were both stunned. What a soul-bonded master! Feng Qin laughed and said, humans can use the power of soul beasts to do many things that humans can't do alone. There are endless changes. If soul-bonded masters become popular among humans, there will be endless changes in the future. We can look forward to it. Along the way, we heard Miss Zhang talk about how powerful soul-bonded masters are. However, we have never seen one before. We are indeed shocked to see one today. Feng Jiu looked down and said slowly, freezing the Raging Dragon River and moving mountains to fill the river. Even titled Douluo have to work together to do this. I didn't expect one person to be able to do it so easily. The two of them looked at Wang Feng. Their eyes were filled with shock. There aren't any high-level soul-bonded masters participating in this competition. Teacher Wang, you must have returned for this competition, right? Zhang Lishuan's eyes sparkled. She smiled and said, I'm really looking forward to your performance in the competition. She changed the way she addressed Wang Feng as Teacher Wang out of respect. Naturally, she could guess a little. Speaking of which, as soul-bonded masters haven't been developed for long, there aren't any high-level soul-bonded masters now. If Teacher Wang can participate in the Pinnacle Group, the name of soul-bonded masters will spread across the entire continent. Zhang Lishuan said softly. Her eyes were filled with anticipation and respect. High-level soul-bonded master. Wang Feng laughed. Suddenly, he said, there should be another high-level soul-bonded master in this competition. I'm really looking forward to it. Oh yes, tell me, how are those little fellows doing? Zhang Lishuan was stunned. Who could the other high-tier soul contract master be? I've never heard of any high-level soul-bonded masters above rank 70. Even the teachers in the academy don't have one. Suddenly, Zhang Lishuan's heart thumped. She was the only teacher in the academy who had obtained an illusionary demon beast. The rest of the teachers hadn't found any suitable soul-bonded beasts. However, she only had one soul-bonded beast. She could barely be considered a high-level soul-bonded master. Is he looking forward to me? Zhang Lishuan's heart thumped wildly as she thought until here. However, she quickly calmed down. She told Wang Feng about the situation of his disciples over the past few days in a chapter that you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.